That's something that I find really fun to say.
Dr. Lecter.
Dr. Lecter.
Tiny little mouth. Dr. Lecter. Hey, everybody, it's me, Will.
Me, Kristen.
We're back for another live stream of Guide to the Unknown, recording a brand new episode. Pop in the chat, say, hey.
Yeah.
Tell us what you've been up to. Let us know if you can see us and hear us and stuff. We're going to share the show in a few places. We'd really appreciate it if you would do the same.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Feels good to be back.
It does.
Hey, Drew.
Yeah, we have not had a conventional live stream in a little bit.
Good. I know.
What's going on, everybody?
Just going to share around. Hey, Diana.
Hey. You know what? Why don't I put the live stream on this computer? I'm going to need to steal it when we get to my topic, but this way you can see the live chat
great.
right here.
Even better.
Right? Yeah, but what's going on, everybody?
Hey, KB.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you share.
That's being very gentle. Yeah.
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 Dana, mom's popping. That's what I like to see.
I'm popping.
She's popping.
It's like a very Seinfeld.
I'm popping.
Jerry, I'm popping. Has everybody watched the trailer for the new Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix?
We were just talking about that. I'm wearing you have a DIY Blair Witch shirt, Sarah? Could you please post that in the group? Hey, Michelle.
Oh, I have something I have to talk
to
to you
The
about.
group we're referring to, just in case anybody doesn't know, just on an off chance, is Guide to the Unknown's Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/GTTU pod in case you want to see Sarah's cool shirt. Oh, this is great. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is perfect.
Yeah, maybe
What if I said hi to Michelle?
Oh,
hey,
my
Michelle.
phone's going to die. Otherwise, we could just keep that there.
Oh, it's okay.
But I might need to use it later. What was I going to say? Somebody messaged me and wants to know if we want to do cross-promo with a place that has real on-screen used movie props. And specifically, they mentioned that they have Scream props. Which I'm like,
cool.
Sign me up.
Sure. What is it? It's a...
Yeah, I gotta...
is it a YouTube channel?
Let's talk about this off.
Hey, Tina. Hi, Arletta.
Hey, we'll talk about the rest of this off stream because I'm gonna need to like reread it and let's go over it because it seems like it might be a cool thing.
Yeah.
But worst comes to worst, I'm getting an on-screen used prop from Scream.
Yeah, I would like
without
to.
a doubt.
I know. I'm curious about what they have and everything.
Gotta
besides
do something.
promo stuff, like what's going on?
Yeah, gotta do something.
Yeah.
Dewey's like boob hat that he has on his computer at work.
Oh my God. Yeah, probably is just like little things.
Seems like they designed his desk before they really decided what his character was like.
Yeah, it didn't quite match up. Maybe a Creed poster.
Yeah. Yeah, I made a funny joke. So I bought Allie and I. So stupid. I'll try to make the long story short. Allie and I walked around town. We found there's a record store place. They sell old like used DVDs and stuff. They had Scream. I don't need another copy of Scream.
No.
It was $1. I got it. Easy buy. Don't make that face.
Okay.
I could explain more about why. Nobody needs to hear that though.
Well, that makes me even more interested. If it was just like, yeah, they have it and I'm obsessed with Scream, then I can move on. But what's the deep reason behind why?
The only DVD copies I have of Scream are in this mint condition box set.
Okay, you want one to play with?
You moved it. Yeah, but so I wanted to have an open copy. It was $1. What the hell? Anyway, I was doing a little live stream.
Yeah.
And I said, because the cover art has all the performers, but they're not really in character. You know what I'm talking about? Like.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah, David Arquette's got his face completely shaven.
Yeah, Skeet Ulrich is wearing like a see-through shirt.
Yeah, and he has like a little
weird
goatee and stuff.
Yeah.
So on the live stream, I zoomed in on Dewey's face and I went, Dewey, where is your mustache? And then I panned over and I went, oh, here it is. Billy has it. Because Skeet Ulrich has a mustache on the poster.
Yeah.
Dewey's mustache is on the wrong person on the Scream poster.
That's right. Mistake that not a lot of people notice.
It was a real goof in the production process. They put the mustache on the wrong person.
It's a poster blooper.
Yeah. I was very proud of that joke.
That's a really good joke.
I didn't get any kudos, no Willie Awards.
Where was
nothing.
this?
Well, I have a new handle on the internet. It was on @TheMythTraveler on Facebook.
Yes, I wasn't setting you up for that though. It was a Facebook Live thing or something. Oh, I didn't see it. Okay.
Yeah, I've been doing random little Facebook Live things here and there. I did a little stream from the corner over there.
Yeah.
On that retro TV, I played an Evil Dead video game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was weird because I was playing it on an old TV, so I just pointed my phone at it.
Yeah.
And just went, and it was super fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, so everybody follow @TheMythTraveler. I'm not the Haunted Sponge anymore.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of people who were in the chat last week when I was trying to rebrand.
Yeah.
Help me out.
Yep.
Haunted Sponge is dead.
Yes.
@TheMythTraveler.
The Myth Traveler rises.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Have myths will travel.
Yeah. KB says, hey, real quick, thoughts on Us. Still need to see it. I thought it was great. You should definitely see it.
Really
It's
liked
very,
Us.
very much worth seeing.
Yeah, really liked Us.
Yeah. Let's see.
Did you watch The Twilight Zone?
Karen, hi. Yes, I did.
Episode
I
1?
posted about
or
it
both?
in the group. I watched both.
You watched both, okay.
Yes. I didn't really like episode 1.
Yeah.
And I liked episode 2.
Oh,
Did
really?
you watch both?
Okay, I only watched episode 1 with Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah.
And about
Episode 2
15
is
minutes
better.
in, I was like, I know where this is going.
And it's the same thing for the whole episode. I don't want to spoil it for
Now,
everybody.
having said
It's-
that,
yeah.
it is wonderfully performed, beautifully
Yeah,
shot.
oh, totally. But I didn't like the story of it.
Yeah.
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 It dragged. I really wish it was a half hour.
Yes, I don't think it needed to be an hour.
No.
I was, I was getting ants in my pants.
Yeah,
I
it's-
needed to dance.
Yeah.
After having come off of, watched all of season 3 of Santa Clarita Diet,
Yeah.
which goes down like
Oh.
candy.
Absolutely.
Yum,
I
yum,
love
eat 'em
it
up.
So
Love the
much.
Santa Clarita Diet.
Yep.
It's the easiest thing in the world to marathon.
Yes, it's so enjoyable. I saw Allie said this in the group that it makes her happy or something like that, or puts her in a good mood. I feel the same way. It just makes me feel joyful.
It's wonderful.
I love it.
It's like tightly scripted, really funny.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great show.
Yeah.
And then I watched The Twilight Zone, being really pumped about it, and I was like,
I know. It kind of took the wind out of
I
my
need a
sails.
break.
Actually,
Like,
I did the exact same thing. We finished Santa Clarita Diet last
Yeah.
night and then moved on to the Twilight Zone, and it was a little deflating.
yeah, like give me an intermission or something.
We
This
went
is
to
just
bed
like-
early.
Really? Wow.
To watch the second episode, because we got a
Oh,
TV
okay.
in our room now. But still, I was tired. We went to bed at like 9:30.
You have a TV in your room now?
Yeah.
Where's the TV in the living room?
It's still there. We got
You got a
second
new TV?
Yes.
How big is it?
Not big. Like maybe the size of that?
Cool.
Maybe?
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
I'm surprised. I thought you were trying not to have like a phone in the bedroom.
Ryan wanted to have it in there. I'm so trained now with not like using my phone in
Yeah.
the bed at night and everything. I never watch it like when I'm not supposed to. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't have a hard time with it.
Huh,
But
cool.
it's nice like on the weekends and everything, just like chill out in bed together.
I gotta say, last night, this is not my average routine. I'm on a bit of a crunch
Mm-hmm.
for work right now. I was working until 4 in the morning last night.
Boy.
And then I went up to bed, and there's nothing in that room.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, there's nothing to distract or
Yeah.
anything. And it was just like, it was a safe space.
Yeah,
After
that's
staring at a
nice.
screen forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can totally see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had a bigger problem with it, it'd be tricky, but I don't ever use it. Like, I'm not, like, staying up all night watching TV on it. I just, like, have trained myself that, like, I'm in bed and I don't go on stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
I do
fine.
have it in my head that it would be probably pretty pleasant
Mm-hmm.
to fall asleep to, like, Stephen Colbert telling you jokes.
Yeah.
Like, that's the purpose of late night TV.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
you're not really supposed to be watching it necessarily. Historically,
not?
people fell asleep to Johnny Carson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how you could.
Yeah, he was
Well, I
supposed to be
guess-
your
well,
like
that's not true. Yeah.
your fun time bedtime pal.
Right. Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird to me.
Yeah.
But they're so energetic on late night shows.
Yeah, I think
You know
it's
what I
different
mean?
now because they exist. They
Yeah.
exist outside of when they air.
Yeah.
It used to be that Johnny Carson would put on an hour of television and it would disappear forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It didn't matter. It was all disposable.
Yeah.
Now everything is permanent.
Yeah.
And it's, incredibly well made. I mean, the Late Show with Stephen Colbert is like a master class
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in like how to put together a late night show. It's wonderful.
Yeah, totally.
Real quick, Michelle in the chat says she's confused about my Facebook identity because when I was doing the live stream from PlayStation, it still said Haunted Sponge.
Oh.
Facebook is a sneaky little stinker. They'll let you change your @ so I'm at the Myth Traveler. That's
Yeah.
a done deal.
Yeah.
But my name, they don't want you to change your name because I might be trying to mislead my audience, as if my audience thinks my name is Haunted Sponge.
Wait, so you literally can't change it?
I have submitted the request.
Okay, yeah.
It got denied within about 3 seconds by a robot. They were like, "No,
Yeah.
can't change your name to
Ugh,
that. It's
so
It's too
annoying.
different from what your name is."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I've got like 800 follows.
Yeah.
On Facebook right now. I don't want to burn that, and
Yeah.
I like everybody that follows
Right,
me.
I know.
So I submitted a thing. It got ignored. I did another, and I wrote literally this. I was being a little snarky, which I don't like to be,
Uh-huh.
but I was like, if anything, it's misleading to call myself Haunted Sponge.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
'Cause I
change my
changed
name
@ yeah.
to Will Rogers.
Uh-huh.
I don't think my audience will be confused. Furthermore, let me decide
Yeah.
what might confuse my audience.
Yeah. That's annoying.
It's very irritating. So Haunted Sponge lives on Facebook for now, but the fight isn't over.
Yeah. I bet they'll let you change it.
I'm coming for you, Zuckerberg.
I see ya.
Yeah.
Real quick, Sarah asked what our favorite Twilight Zone episodes are. I imagine of the original run. I don't have a favorite. I've watched a lot of the Twilight Zone, but it's not something I've watched and rewatched where I have like favorites. I'm not like super intimate with it. Do you have a favorite?
I don't know if I have a favorite. I really like this one where the death tries to convince a guy like, or maybe he's the devil. He's like, "Give me your soul and you'll never die." And it was like presented as like a kindly old man. He was like, "Well, yes, just put your name right here on this contract."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, this sounds good,
Yeah,
but who are you? He's like, "Well, I've gone by many names," and it was like that portrayal of the devil as like a jovial.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, like a nice guy with a paper under his arm.
Yeah, it was a good time. And then I haven't watched a lot of the Twilight Zone. That's like early on season 1 because I haven't gotten that far into it.
Yeah, I've watched a bunch of it, but I don't know that I've watched like sequentially all of it. I know that I haven't actually.
Right.
Yeah.
But fun fact, Kristen and I are. I'm going to go ahead and say that Kristen and I are geniuses as far as spotting little-known character actors and performers.
Yes.
And
I
stuff.
just did this. Was it during the Twilight Zone? What the hell was it? What are you about to say?
We were watching. Allie and I were watching an episode of the Twilight Zone, and I went, "That guy." Granted,
wow.
this was in like the 50s or 60s or something.
Yeah.
It's like that guy looks like the newspaper editor from Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's like, I bet that's him. And I
No,
went,
it is the Great Muppet Caper.
it's Great Muppet Caper. I went through the whole like IMDb thing and confirmed that the newspaper guy from Great Muppet Caper is in an episode of The Twilight Zone where he's in an experiment. He's like an astronaut.
Yeah.
And then Kristen walked in the door because we were going to do this show, and I went, "Hey, Kristen, who is this?" And Kristen goes, "Oh, it's that guy from the Great Muppet Caper." And I was like, amazing.
Yeah.
Like nobody else
I know.
can pull off what we can pull off.
I know. It's really a gift. It's insane.
Yeah.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things about myself.
Yeah,
It's so weird. It's so funny.
I take pride.
Yes.
In it. Yeah.
I love it.
The height of it was when I was recently sponging Hannibal Lecter, and he's serving people dinner at the beginning of Hannibal.
right,
And someone's
yeah.
like, "May I confess something wicked?" And I was like, "Who the hell is he? Seems really familiar." And it was the guy that played Walter on Blackwood.
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
like I was able to do it with like performers that I've worked with now, and I'm like, "Oh, I get like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon myself to Anthony Hopkins."
Yeah.
I'm a voice in episode 1 of Blackwood, technically.
That's right.
I say about 4 words.
Still
something
there.
Like that.
Also, you wrote Blackwood. I think that.
You have to be a performer in it, though. You know.
No, that still works for 6 degrees. I wrote a podcast that guy was in, and that guy was in Hannibal. Boom.
I think it's more fun to be the performer in it, don't you?
No, I think it doesn't matter.
All right, whatever. Anyway, all right. Why don't we
Let's
just
see.
start the show?
Yeah, we'll start the show.
We
Sorry,
got,
guys.
We got a
Gabbing
bunch of
away.
people here, right?
But hi, everybody. Anybody I didn't say hi to? Hello.
We didn't even share the show ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's
We just had the gift of gab.
That's right. Get
Yeah.
cracking. Did you share it to Facebook yet or anything?
I did nothing. I was
Me
talking to
too.
you and all these wonderful people.
Yeah.
Everybody, please consider sharing the show right now. Get a bunch of other people in
Yeah,
here.
that'd be great.
We're having a party. We're having a beach blast.
That's right.
Where are you? Instagram right now?
Yes.
I'm going to go to Facebook.
Okay.
And then we'll be able to get this show off the ground. By the way, this is going to be episode 75
Yeah.
of Guide to the Unknown. Kooky.
Kooky. Spooky.
Who ever thought we would make it this far?
I know.
Looks like we made it.
Looks like we made it, gang. It's episode 75 of Guide to the Unknown. We're recording it live right now, so come hang out with us.
YouTube.com/TalkBomb.
That's right, baby. Meh.
Oh, no. What happened at the end?
That's right, baby. That's right, baby.
A little voice.
That's right, baby. Coming out your life now, baby.
Oh, come in, that's your baby.
Coming out with us, please.
A little punchy. All right, here we go. Paste, and we are live. Come hang.
I just learned a new skill. Did I do it right?
Doesn't sound like you learned a new skill.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't sound to me like you learned a new skill. What's up?
I'm trying to pin. Maybe you can only pin a sticker. So that it just says the Myth Traveler on you.
What's that horrific little little GIF thing that you've been using on Instagram?
I found it when I was searching for. I did a search for the for stickers for weird, and it came up, and I was like, ew, what is this?
It's weird.
And then I just keep putting it.
Kristen has like a new trademark.
Yeah.
For Guide to the Unknown. It's like a little witch.
Disgusting.
It's like a disgusting little witch that's like bopping her arms around. Yeah. It's gross.
Yep.
All right, I shared it on Facebook and Twitter, and I think I'm good.
Okay.
I think I'm set with all this stuff.
Just about ready. Hold on.
Live. Bingo. Publish. Published it.
Nice.
Hey, Eric, what's going on? Oh, Tina's got a good episode of Twilight Zone. The one where the doctors are trying to fix the face of somebody who's supposedly hideous.
Oh,
and when
yeah,
you see her at the end, she's model gorgeous.
That's a great one.
That's a great one. And all the people that live in that world have like, they do duck face.
Yep.
They did duck face like several decades before it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard they're redoing the William Shatner Gremlin on the Plane Wing one.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, with Adam Scott, I think.
Well, he's on a plane, but it's not quite this.
Oh, well, that's what I saw posted on blogs, at least.
Maybe?
Yeah. Hey, Louie.
I don't know.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
All right, I'm just going to share this to my Facebook, and then we're good.
Sure. By all means. And we'll get this party on the road. Maybe I'll do another live stream of the Evil Dead video game soon. It was fun. I found an old TV on the side of the road. It's like, you know, what TVs used to be before they were flat screens. It's a CRT, so it's the big boxy one. And I have it, I've got 2 monitors on my desk, and then I've got a big boxy TV over here. And last night I just pointed a camera at it and played an Evil Dead video game for a while I was killing time.
Sweet.
And it was super fun and very cheesy. And Bruce Campbell did the official voice himself.
Oh,
So he's going
really?
like, it all started when I went back to that damn cabin.
Yeah.
It's like, why'd you go back?
Right.
And then his own severed hand from Evil Dead 2 is still in there.
Yeah.
And hits play on that voice recorder that has the recordings from the Necronomicon.
Oh, that's fun.
So it brings the monsters back.
That's cool.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I liked it. And I because it's all like it feels like you're playing a video game in it's like as if live streaming existed in the 90s.
Yeah.
Because it's just a
That's
camera pointed at an old TV. I told Allie I want to get a mirror.
Yeah.
So that the mirror can reflect my face so
Uh-huh.
my face can be in the shot. You know what I mean?
No, I can't picture how that would work.
Next to the TV.
Oh, yes, I can. Okay,
A
yes.
mirror so that
Yeah.
instead of having picture-in-picture like
Yes.
set up on a computer,
Right.
it's all happening in the frame.
That's awesome. That's a
Right.
really good
I
idea.
think that would be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're in
All
good
right.
shape.
All right, guys.
All right. We're going to start the show. If anybody has to leave or anything, the episode that we record right now is going to come out on all major podcast apps and YouTube on Friday.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for hanging out with us,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
All right. Away we go. Let me undo this now so I don't have to be loud and annoying on the show.
Oh, wise.
All right. Hello. Welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
I'm William.
And we're here to tell each other some spooky stories, learn something, have a good time.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summary. This is episode 75
Yeah.
of Guide to the Unknown.
That's right.
Not quite an anniversary, not quite a milestone.
No, there isn't any sort of like weird prefix before centennial for 75, right?
I don't think so, but
Yeah.
it still is like an achievement. 3/4 of 100.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Pretty soon, you
Not
and I are going to be
bad.
doing episode 100 of this show.
I know.
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
As it stands now, we have our podcast AARP card.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
We're going to get so many discounts.
We're septuagenarians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally.
I've been waiting for this.
Yes. All right, so I'm going to go first.
Yes.
Now, this is a topic that I've had on my radar for a long time, but it just seems so dense. I didn't feel like getting into it, to tell you the truth. It goes a lot of different directions.
Okay.
But my friend Dave asked me about it and then sent me some info about it that I'm going to get to a little bit later in the telling of the story. It intrigued me so that I couldn't ignore it any longer.
Okay.
What do you know, if anything, about the Bell Witch?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Ooh, you had a good reaction.
Yeah, because I know something that it doesn't tell you anything about the Bell Witch. I just know about a sort of reputation the Bell Witch has.
Yeah.
So you and I are both massive fans of the Blair Witch
Yes.
Project.
Yep.
Are my books around here?
They
They're somewhere. Whatever. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
So the Blair Witch is a completely made-up mythical witch, but outside of the movies, there was an author that wrote a series of books. They're dossiers. They're meant to take place in universe with the movies. So they purport to say that Heather, Mike, and Josh did go missing. Here are some historians that talk about the Blair Witch, and in some of those books, they mention that the Blair Witch is not the only legend like this.
Right.
And they cite the Bell Witch
Yes.
as another example.
Yep. So I don't know how many similar. Well, I guess they have some similarities besides just being like American witch legends.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot. I obviously did think about the Blair Witch when I was researching this, but there's not a ton of overlap that I can see besides those two things, but still extremely sweet.
Cool.
So it is a story that has caught fire ever since the events happened in a crazy way. And I was trying to think of why exactly it's such a big deal, because the main core story is kind of small. I know that there are other ways I could have gone while I was researching it and gone very deep, because there are people who have said that they've experienced things with the Bell Witch who aren't in the Bell family and who don't live in the area. Like apparently it kind of, people feel it kind of traveled around. I think that there are a lot of theories about it that are almost similar, and I think I could be totally wrong. I don't know where I'm getting this in my head from just having seen it at some point in life, reading and looking at all this stuff the way that we always have. But like, I feel like there are theories about things that happen to people that they attribute to the Bell Witch about what am I trying to say? Like the same way that there are people who try to explain the events of Salem, like the Salem witch trials, by being like, well, there's a certain fungus on this wheat that like made everybody go crazy. I think that there are some theories that are like, well, this was happening in this area, and then they attribute it to the Bell Witch or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I think that makes a lot of sense, especially because like we get so caught up in these like myths and legends that we sort of forget, like history forgets the actual practical reasons why a lot of this stuff was thought of in the first place.
Right, exactly. So it's a huge, very sprawling story. But I just focused in on the things that I thought were cool.
Cool.
Basically.
Great.
And that I came across. It took a long time. But the broad strokes of it is that there was this witch who manifested mainly as a booming voice, tormenting a family, doing some physical stuff, eventually killing a man. It's said that the Bell Witch, the events of the Bell Witch are the only death that is attributed to supernatural forces by like the state, basically, at the time.
Okay.
And where we get this information from is kind of from one main source about the main story. There was a book written in 1894, which first of all is it's a little unusual because the main text was written almost 75 years. 75.
Whoa.
75 years after the events that happened, which is kind of strange. Like this wasn't written down right when it happened or soon after. It's 75 years later. This guy writes a book called An Authenticated History of the Famous Bell Witch. And it's kind of like a collected oral history over time. So some people say it's just a total hoax, the whole thing. It's like not really a thing at all. But also some people say that the book is just a great record of folklore at that time and kind of the way that people thought. So hard to say. I mean, definitely the Bell family existed. Some of these things happened because there are some things that are written down. But we don't know for sure because the main account was written so long after the events happened, which is weird.
Right.
One thing that is referred to a lot is that the Bell Witch got its name from Andrew Jackson, our old friend from our White House stories.
Yeah.
President Andrew Jackson is said to have coined the term Bell Witch. Now, this is another one of those things where it's just kind of talked about anecdotally, but there is no actual record, like from Andrew Jackson or anything, of him visiting the Bell family. But this would have happened supposedly. Let's just do a blanket statement. Everything I'm about to say is supposedly, who knows, whatever.
Okay.
The story is that when he was a general, people were talking about the whole Bell Witch phenomenon. It was known in the area, and he was in the South, and he decided with some of his men to go visit the property and just like check this out and see what's going on or something. So he and a couple of guys rode up to the property with their like horse-drawn carriages, and then I thought this detail was kind of funny. The carriages stopped, like at the Bell Farm property line. Not the horses. The carriages just would not progress past the line. I read something that said the horses were trying to pull them, and it just like wasn't happening.
That's even weirder.
Right?
That's one of those things that we've talked about before.
Like they cursed the wheels.
That's one of those things that we talked about before with like the Phantom Skater when we were doing a listener story episode where it's like something that is just unexplainable in physics.
Yes.
In a way, right? Like the Phantom Skater didn't have a shadow.
Right.
Just like, is there really an explanation for that? Is he not physically there? Whatever. This is like, why the horses? Horses, yeah.
Right.
Carriage, no.
Right, and the horses are attached to the carriage, so it's not going.
It's so strange, it's inexplicable.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I'm going to quote some stuff from a blog from 2014. So the same way that this book was written, 75-ish years after the events, all of my sources are from 2014, 2015 for some reason.
Wow.
Pretty much what I found on the internet seemed to have frozen at that date. Or at least all the things that I enjoyed were all 2014, 2015. So this is a blog. It's seeksghosts.blogspot.com. And I'm going to read some quotes because I thought they were very funny. So remember that we had heard from our episodes about ghosts in the White House and maybe even First Lady being into the occult or whatever, that Andrew Jackson was like big on cursing.
Yeah.
And that they would hear him like roaming the halls cursing. Well, that must have come later because he had some pretty gentle language when he visited the Bell Farm. So he's frustrated by the horses not being able to go. And this blog says that he said, "By the eternal, boys, this is the Bell Witch."
By the eternal.
That comes up multiple times.
Ooh.
Or actually, it's just, "This is the witch." I guess he says Bell Witch later. To which a disembodied female voice replied, "All right, General, let the wagon move on. I will see you tonight."
Okay.
So then the wagon finally started of its own accord, and they can pass through.
Ooh.
So they are, according to this, I don't know why they're camping out, not staying with the family or something, but they are like pitching a tent and camping out, Andrew Jackson and his men. And one of the people that they were with was somebody who was a self-proclaimed witch layer or witch hunter. I guess like a witch slayer or whatever.
Okay.
So he was talking big game about how he has hunted and shot other witches and stuff. Like this is this guy's jam, and he's going to take care of this Bell Witch. So this says, Andrew Jackson leaned in and whispered to one of his men, "I bet this fellow is an arrant coward. By the Eternals, I do wish the thing would come. I want to see him run."
Whoa.
By the Eternals.
By the Eternals. Why did that phrase go out of style?
I don't know. I love it. I was floored.
What does that really mean? Like by
God?
By God? Like God is eternal, so...
Yeah. I guess it's like, by God, there's a witch here or whatever. It's like, it's so definitive. By God, it's happening.
I think we did say in the White House haunting episode that cursing back then was probably being like, "Oh, fiddlesticks."
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Pure fiddlesticks.
Yeah, so maybe Andrew Jackson was just like, "By the Eternals,"
and everyone
in
was
the White
like,
House. Everybody's like, "Oh my God.
Believe you said that? Can you...
Language. There are children here. We're talking Eternals."
Maybe By the Eternals went out of style because it was the worst of the worst curses of the time.
Maybe there's going to be somebody who's like extremely old who's listening to this podcast and is going to be like, "Ha!"
Sitting in front of like a Victrola with an ear horn. Like Whistler's
I thought
mother.
they said this podcast wasn't explicit.
How could they?
Yeah. Okay, so that's happening. This guy's talking a big game. Andrew Jackson's like, "By the Eternals, I feel like this guy's a scaredy cat. I wish the witch would come so we can see him run."
That's great.
Then the group starts to hear light footfalls prancing. At the same time, the female voice from earlier announces, "All right, General, I am at hand and ready for business."
What?
So then the voice demands that the witch hunter shoot, and he tries to get his gun, but it doesn't fire. So this witch is making a mockery of the witch layer or whatever. The braggart was then struck by an unseen force as he twisted around and shouted that something was sticking painful pins into him. Remember, pins are going to come into play later.
Okay.
He then cried out that something had him by the nose. This seems like a real scene.
This
seems like a comedy.
This is a freak show.
Yeah, Andrew Jackson's calling this guy a braggart and being like, whatever. Then a witch is grabbing this guy by the nose.
"Pleased to make your acquaintance. I have come since you called me." Like the rules of engagement here are very proper. Like battle used to be like you have to like be very respectful of thine enemy and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, you bow to them
Yeah.
before you're going to duel.
Exactly. This seems like
This witch was just humiliating him in front of all these people. She's like, oh, you're a tough witch layer?
Yeah.
Well, I've got you by the schnoz. How about that? So it says that all of them were silent as they watched this guy get thrown around the tent by the nose, and then he ran away from the tent. The witch chimed again once more after he was gone. She said, how the devil did run and beg. I bet he won't come through here again with his old horse pistol to shoot me. Then the gathering heard, I guess that's fun enough for tonight, General, and you can go to bed now. I will come tomorrow night and show you another rascal in this crowd. I died. You see now why I decided to use Seek's ghost.blogspot.com from 2014 as a source.
This is awesome.
I know.
This is like drunk history or something.
I know. I was thinking that.
I feel like I have a very
particular
clear image in my head of all of these events playing out. This ghost, like, that also plays into sort of like classic ghost stories where it's like, when the bell, chimes one,
right.
I will
Tomorrow
return.
night I'll be coming again.
Right.
Well, she didn't get her chance because they left the next day, even though they were planning on staying a week.
Well, thank God
So
they did.
scared were they by by the Eternal
Yeah.
of the Bell Witch.
Oh.
So that's all fun and games, Will. But the Bell Witch isn't always all fun and games. So we're going to go back to the beginning.
Oh.
That was when we're in the thick of it and people know about the Bell Witch.
Sure.
But how did this come about on Bell Farm in
Yeah.
Tennessee? Adams, Tennessee, to be exact. I don't think I said that. Okay, so in Adams, Tennessee, in early 1817, John Bell was out at his farm, like, tending crops and stuff, and he saw an apparition of a black dog with the head of a rabbit running around. Unsettling, to say the least.
Yeah.
So he was like, what the hell's happening here? Then, not long after that, strange things just start happening all the time in their house and on the farm. So he, his wife Lucy, and his kids start to hear pounding on the outside of their cabin, just randomly. It starts out with that, but then it starts to escalate. Then they start hearing the voice talking to them, and the voice sounds like a woman. They say an old woman. Then things start to get physical. The ghost starts throwing pillows, tugging bed sheets, and this detail freaked me out, and I tried to find more about it, but I guess there's nothing more to say. They started to hear the sound of chewing on bedposts. Can you imagine being in bed and you can hear somebody gnawing on your wood bedpost?
I wouldn't like that.
I wouldn't like that either. It's such a crazy thing to do with no seeming end game that you're just like, I'm really dealing with something that's like unhinged here. Why are they doing this?
It doesn't have a particular motivation.
No, to just be doing that is so scary.
I'm just doing this.
The
It's not a
sound of-
means to an end.
And
It's-
also, they're at your bed and probably at the foot of your bed. Something at the foot of your bed, the sound of it chewing on your bedpost. That is so freaky.
It's
to
really
me.
weird.
Yes. And seeming to particularly zone in on attacking their daughter, Betsy. So, like, pinching, poking, slapping, hitting, all Betsy. Like, a lot of, like, really physical stuff.
Do you know how old Betsy was?
I think, like, a teen. I think it was, like, preteens.
You know
or
what this
something
sounds
that.
like?
I don't remember.
This sounds
Oh,
like
yes!
by the book.
Poltergeist activity. That's
Yeah.
right. She might have been going through some hormonal stuff.
Yeah.
It was manifesting.
It started with sort
That's
of like
right.
innocuous events, and then it escalated to physically maneuvering objects around the room, and then it escalated further to violence.
That's right. I bet there's a theory about that out there somewhere.
Yeah, because we talked about there are defined steps. It's like Piaget's
Yeah.
steps
Yes.
for poltergeists.
And these, William, you're right. And these are the steps. It was like first they heard pounding, then they heard voices, then physically things being moved.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Not just a hat rack,
That's right.
my friend.
Okay. So this is where something that Dave told me kind of comes into play. He said, and this is such like I told him, I thought it was like, it's just like a very wholesome story. So he and his brother Anthony were on tour with like a band they had when they were like, I don't know, in their early 20s or something like that. And they were staying, I think, somewhere in the South with just a couple. And Anthony was, I think this is cute, was like reading to them from a book about scary stuff and was reading to them about the Bell Witch.
Okay.
So Dave told me that he remembered a story from this book about either the mom or Betsy coughing up dozens of needles, and that it really stuck with him because it's so creepy or whatever.
Ugh.
But that he hadn't seen stuff about it since, really. So then when he was talking to me about doing this episode, he started like Googling around and finding and looking for stuff about the needles that rang a bell with him for what Anthony had read him, and he didn't find exactly that, but he did find, again, a 2015 blog spot to source from, metaphysicalarticles.blogspot.com, and it has something that he thinks is like kind of in the realm of what he was talking about. And on that blog that he sent me, it says it's from Mark Russell Bell's blog. So I think that's a member of the Bell family, but it was housed on this blog spot. So I'm just going to read it. Some of it verbatim, some of it I will shorten. Okay. So I thought this was cool. It says, Bell Witch narratives from Britain and the continent abound in examples of sufferers who vomited or voided bones, pins, nails, needles, bits of lead, farthings, whetstones, nutshells, rushes, balls of wool or hair, and so on, which the witch had somehow conveyed into the system.
Yeah.
The witch had somehow conveyed into the system is such a sweet phrase.
It is. Yeah, it's weird because I guess I feel like I've seen stuff like that before in stories of like people getting cursed and stuff, where they will. Yeah,
I feel like I can picture somebody like pulling out some disgusting yarn.
Yeah,
you
right.
know?
But I don't. I guess
Actually, does that happen in the Ring? Is somebody pulling out like Samara hair?
Pulls out hair. Yeah,
yeah, that's
I think
right.
that's right. But I don't usually think of that as meaning that this entity, spirit, whatever, put a button in you or whatever.
Exactly.
It's just kind of like it's just happening. When you say it as like somehow they put a button in there.
Yeah.
Put a button in your body.
Yeah.
A buckle.
Right.
It's so much stranger
than a farthing,
a
whetstone.
A farthing. Do we still have farthings?
I'm not sure.
Is a farthing, does it go by any other name?
I have no idea what that is. A farthing by any other name would not be as sweet. Okay, so I'm going to read this next paragraph mainly because there are really good old-timey names in it. So there's a witch case study author named M.V. Ingram who wrote about a phenomenon involving pins and needles in a book called Reminiscences from the Girl Who Associated Most with Betsy Bell. A name that I feel like would be shortened today, but was allowed to proceed as a book back in the day. So the chapter of this book is derived from an interview with Partheny Thorne Gooch.
Oh, God.
Excuse me. Partheny Thorne Gooch's daughter, Lucinda.
Lucinda Gooch.
Lucinda Gooch. Lucinda E. Rowells. I think that she must have gotten married later or something. So,
probably got married as fast as she could.
Yeah, probably with that name. So, Partheny's nickname was Thenny Thorne. Tough name. And I guess a friend. She's the girl most associated with Betsy Bell, excuse me. So, Thenny Thorne, Partheny Thorne Gooch, said that a witch doctor insisted that he could relieve Betsy of the spell if she would take his medicine, and she readily agreed to take his prescription. So spell of like feeling like crap from the witch, basically. Mother remonstrated with Betsy against taking the awful dose, but she persisted that she would take anything that anybody would give her, even if it was poison, to get rid of her excruciating pest, and so she did swallow it down. It soon made her deathly sick, as the conjurer promised it would, and immediately a copious evacuation of the stomach followed. The excrement was examined and found to be literally full of pins and needles, and Kate, the witch, I'll get to that, fairly roared with laughter and said that fellow was the only conjurer who had ever done any good. Right. So somebody came along who said that they could cure her of feeling terrible all the time, gave her something that made her poop needles.
Right. Okay. So it was him that did it?
No, the conjurer saved her from, like, no,
those needles were in there.
They're making her stomach hurt, I guess.
I thought it was starting to sound as if, like, he was another villain.
No. I think that she was in a lot of pain.
Double curses.
There actually was just that excerpt. It didn't really say, like, she's doubled over in pain all the time. But I gather she was in a ton of pain in her stomach. And so he helped her avoid the needles that were causing her pain. Ugh. And the witch was like, well, I guess somebody did some good. Ugh. Or whatever. So, tough stuff.
It's bizarre.
But it gets tougher. So the dad, John Bell, started getting really sick a couple of years into the presence of the witch being around them. He had like no appetite, and he was having what we now know are seizures.
Okay.
So it sounds like he had some sort of like neurological thing going on, or something going on with his central nervous system, possibly, is what I read. But when he died, it said that they found a vial of black liquid by his bed, and that the voice of the Bell Witch came on the loudspeakers and said, "I gave old Jack a big dose of that last night, which fixed him."
Ooh.
I know. The Bell Witch talks in a very particular and scary way.
It is scary. I'm not saying it's not scary, but it is definitely peculiar.
It's peculiar indeed.
It's full sentences and
Right.
boastful and almost too much
It's like
information.
fun,
right?
kind of.
There's no
Yeah.
mystery here.
Right.
How did he die? I killed him.
Yeah. Well, there's no need for a mystery when you're a witch. You know what I mean? What are they going to do? Prosecutor?
No, I
She probably
agree.
wants to take credit.
I agree,
She's having a
but
good time with it.
I feel like in a lot of stories about witches and ghosts and stuff, they still try to stay low key.
Yeah, they keep it kind of vague.
Yeah.
No, the Bell Witch is taking ownership.
Yeah. What was the exact? Can you say the quote again? What'd you say? It fixed him.
I gave old Jack a big dose of that last night, which fixed him.
Yeah, it's also sort of slang.
Right.
Right.
Well, too, also with the general thing, it was very proper. She's like, all right, General, I'll leave you for the night. And,
It's wonderful. I really do love it.
I know. I do, too. It made me wonder why I hadn't gotten into this sooner.
Yeah. Why isn't anybody really talking about this? How is there not?
They are. I mean, there's a ton of stuff about the Bell Witch out there.
Yeah, but I feel like it didn't hit like mainstream enough for me to know. You know, I was aware that she existed.
I mean, there are some things in pop culture of her. Like, there's a movie called An American Haunting that's about the Bell Witch.
That's about her?
Yes.
That
Have you
was-
ever seen that before?
Yeah, I don't-
It seems like to do. I haven't seen it.
Let's just say it gave me pins and needles.
That no witch doctor could help with.
It smells like a pin cushion, that
only
movie.
me. Yeah. I'll also reference it a little bit more in a minute, but there was a special on A&E in 2015. 2015 was a very hot year for the Bell Witch.
Yeah.
A special on A&E called Cursed the Bell Witch, and there's also an episode of Ghost Adventures that takes place in Bell Witch Cave, which is just a cave on the property of the Bells. And from what I gather, I could be wrong, I think it just happens to be a cave, and caves are creepy, so they call it Bell Witch Cave.
Fair enough.
I didn't find anything. Not that I looked super hard into Bell Witch Cave specifically, but everything was just kind of like, yeah, Bell Witch Cave is on the Bell property, and there was a witch.
Right.
So I don't think
Good enough.
she did anything crazy in there.
It's all you need.
necessarily. Exactly. So the Bell Witch did and said that, and then laughed and sang mocking songs at his funeral, which is way harsh.
That is harsh. Everyone just sits there having to listen to these songs.
I know. You're just like, really? The man, can you not let up for like a minute?
I don't know if that would be my reaction.
Yeah.
If a disembodied voice starts
But
singing.
at this point, it's 3 or 4 years into the presence of the
yeah.
Bell Witch, like being with them all the time and like booming its voice out. Just it seems like very regularly.
you're right.
So I used to be like, could you just for like a day?
Hey, knock it off.
Yeah, for now,
Just once.
Kate. So, who is the Bell Witch? So
Oh, sorry.
that's okay. All right. So the identity of who the Bell Witch is and where this is coming from is widely disputed. And according to the legend, the entity gave multiple names and multiple stories for what it was, like the Joker in The
Oh.
Dark Knight.
Yeah.
In one case, it claimed to be the spirit of a Native American whose grave was disrupted, which is also just a very like classic American sort of story.
Yeah.
So that could just be sort of a folklore kind of thing. But at a different time, and this is what a lot of people have taken as fact, whatever, have taken as the identity of the Bell Witch, said that it was doing the work of the Bell's neighbor, whose name was Kate Batts, Batts. So something I find interesting about that is that at least in this particular thing I read, it didn't say that it was the neighbor manifested. It said that it was doing the work of the neighbor.
Yeah, like doing the bidding.
Yeah, exactly. But they started apparently calling the witch Kate, and it responded to that like it was its name. So that kind of like fed into the idea of Kate Batts like being the Bell Witch in some way or whatever.
Weird.
However, I think Kate Batts got a real bad rap from what I read. So there is kind of like a Bell Witch historian named Pat Fitzhugh who's written a number of books about the Bell Witch, and this is an article, or this comes from an article about a talk that he did. He said that Kate Batts was an outcast in their community because she had very little money and she did the majority of the hard physical labor on her family's farm because her husband was paralyzed from an accident.
Oh.
So they basically thought she was like weird. It sounds like she was like poor and she's like a woman who's doing the physical work. So they're just like, what's this chick's deal?
As
What the hell is
stupid,
she supposed to
I don't know.
do?
As stupid as we are today, and as
Yeah.
poorly as we treat each other
Yes.
today, it like the past is on a whole other level. Like,
oh, yeah.
what's up with that lady that does all the hard labor
Right.
because her husband's paralyzed?
Right. And she's like all poor.
What a weirdo.
Right,
She's
exactly.
probably a witch, or at least in command of one. Am I right?
At least that's one that does her bidding.
Bizarre. It's bizarre.
It's so weird. They also said, this might have added to it a little bit, that she was always trying to impress people. She was like, she'd make a scene and try to be the center of attention, so maybe she was like a little annoying. But like, maybe this woman's trying to escape sometimes from her very hard life.
Yeah. They're given no quarter.
Number one, she's got a farm, a whole
Yeah.
farm. It's not like she's just doing like the work at home that her husband would normally be chipping in on.
Right, yeah.
She's taking care of a farm. She's exhausted. Maybe she wanted a little shine for a minute.
It'd be awesome to be able to go back in time and stop the bullying.
Yeah.
Be like,
Kate Batts alone.
you're all a bunch of backwards weirdos.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Shut up.
You think that she's weirder than you? Look at all of you.
Yeah, come on.
Bizarre.
They had slaves and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Look at yourself.
Yeah, look at yourself. I also read something, and I didn't write it down because it felt like I needed to get into a lot of particulars of something. I didn't want to, like, do it wrong. I also read a theory that they didn't like Kate Batts because she somehow got involved in some sort of, like, land ownership thing that had to do with, like, the Bell Farm slaves or something like that. I'm not sure. But if you're interested, that's something that you could look up further. But anyway, Batts strongly denied having any connection to the haunting, but because they had already gone down that road, they just kept calling the witch Kate, and she like leaned into it. The witch leaned into it, I mean.
Right.
So people think of the witch as Kate very often.
What kind of reporting is this, too? Miss Batts, what do you have to say to the people that propose that you might have something to do with the Bell Witch? Is this true? Is there a connection? No. No, why would there be? What would that mean? How is it not me, but I'm in control of it? Think about what you're asking me. No. I don't believe you, ma'am.
Right.
Is that the reporter saying that? Yes, I don't believe you. I'm going to continue to spread the rumors that you're in charge and you're a weirdo.
Yeah, it's a convenient, fun story.
Yeah.
So that's the main original gist of the story. The Bell family, that whole thing, Kate Batts and everything. But people still talk about it, obviously, today. Particularly people in the Bell family, like descendants of it. It's part of their, like, not only is it part of kind of American lore and Southern lore, but it's specifically part of their, like, family lore. So in the context of that show Cursed that I mentioned, it is said that the witch torments the firstborn son of each generation of the family. Now, I only found that, this is something I did a fair amount of Googling around on, I only found that part in association with this show Cursed. I didn't find any other source saying that the firstborn son of every generation is going to have this going on, but maybe it's something that specifically the Bell family talked about a lot, so it wasn't like, I don't know, maybe they didn't spread it around so all the Bell Witch kind of historians were up on it or whatever. So on this show, there's a direct descendant of Lucy, the wife in the original family, whose name is John, who is trying to stop the curse in order to save his 14-year-old son from harm. So those are the stakes on the show Cursed.
Yeah.
I watched a bunch of clips of it on YouTube. I'm fine with watching the clips.
The clips are enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's say that. If it was all available on demand somewhere or something, I did look into whether it was streaming and you have to like rent it or buy it. It didn't seem great enough to spend money for, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
I also read that it's kind of half like historical stuff and then half like ghost hunting show thing, like night vision, whatever. And it seems like the historical stuff I could get on board with watching, but like the ghost stuff is pretty typical sort of ghost hunter stuff. It just didn't really seem worth it to me. I also watched clips of Ghost Adventures with our friend Zach Bagans going into Bell Witch Cave, freaking out. They set up some sort of like big electrical rods in the cave that if something was happening, they would light up or whatever. And so they're starting to light up and he's like, oh my god he's freaking out.
Maybe I gotta watch that show.
Oh, yeah. You absolutely do. What are you, nuts? It's so crazy because I haven't seen like a ton of it, but I've seen like some of it. He's incredible because sometimes it'll be the most minor thing that's going on. Like, maybe I needed to see the full context of this episode with the Bell Witch Cave, but seriously, there's like two big rods and you just see them like lighting up a little bit. He's like, oh my god.
Every time
just, like, ramps up the excitement just by because how can you, if you're with him, how can you not end up being like, oh my god?
Every time
'Cause
we
he's
get
losing
back
his mind.
to Zach Bagans, I have such a good time thinking of his face.
I know. I love it. When I saw that he had gone there, I was like, oh, yes.
And like checking with his crew on stuff and be like, okay, so you're gonna go in there now?
Yep,
You're
that's
like,
happening.
Like constantly trying to like
Well,
wrangle what we're doing.
It's like it's ramping up the seriousness of what we're doing.
Right.
Like I need to make sure I know exactly what you're doing, and I need to know exactly what you're doing because we're about to do something very dangerous. So we need to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row. So it makes anything that's very minor feel very intense and high stakes.
He's an effective leader.
He's a very effective.
If you were hanging out with Zach Bagans and you went to, say, an Applebee's.
Sure.
So you're getting the mozzarella sticks? Great. What have you got over there? Okay, you're getting the turkey club? Excellent. Okay, let's order. Okay, come here, Theo. What are you
I don't
getting?
get a turkey club a whole lot anymore.
Oh, I do. It's delicious.
Do you get a turkey club?
I've been known to get a turkey club.
I was weirdly thinking about turkey clubs a couple weeks ago. And I was like, man, I forgot that that's a sandwich that exists. I never get a turkey club.
Sounds like a fun afternoon.
It was okay. So those are those things that are, not recent, but recent-ish, 2015. Wait, where did I just go? Oh, okay. So the cursed show. They're worried about like firstborn sons experiencing harm from this curse. I didn't find, because it wasn't in the clips that I watched, I didn't see what's happened in the past to make them think that this is a thing. Like, I don't know what people in this family have experienced that's like the firstborn sons keep like really stepping in it, but it obviously seems upsetting. If this guy John, they end up like in a clip that I did see on YouTube, they like burned an effigy like on Bell Farm or something, I think, to like appease the witch so that she won't try to go after the son.
Did it work?
I think they said it worked.
Then
'Cause
show's
the
over.
Exactly. Well, it was like the finale of a show, so I think that they were like, all right, finally, an end to the curse or whatever, but I don't know what happened. I didn't find anything after that. I did try to find out like after story stuff, but it seems like the show ended and that was the end of our journey with that branch of the family.
It would be awesome to advertise a full season of a show about a family that's cursed, but then in episode 1, they appease the spirit.
Yeah. Like, well, I guess everything's fine.
And the rest of the show is like a sitcom. Or
Yeah. Just
something.
having fun together.
Yeah.
So there were other members of the Bell family and the extended Bell family who have had a much easier time of it. So there's Lucy Butler, who's named after the original Lucy in the story, but she's a direct descendant of John. And she said that it was just kind of like a natural part of growing up as part of the Bell family. Like weird things would happen around them, and they were just kind of like, oh, I guess it's the Bell Witch. Because another thing about the Bell Witch is I've talked about all the like the weird like harmful things. Apparently, she would be nice to some people and then really didn't like other people. So she liked the original Lucy and was nice to her. I don't know if that means she spoke nicely to her. I don't know if that means she folded her sheets for her or something like that. I'm not sure what nice to them means.
Well
But
met,
this
Lucy. What ho? I hope you have a spanking day.
I know. I didn't find specifics about what that means, but it said that she was nice to some people, not nice to some others. So this Lucy Butler, who's alive today, named after that old Lucy, seemed like the Bell Witch didn't really do anything harmful to her and her family, maybe because she was named for the Lucy that she liked. She did say that she and her daughter saw an apparition that kind of looked like that dog that John Bell saw all the way back then. And they've also seen a young girl just like running around and giggling and stuff like that. And she said that the girl would play with her daughter's toys when she was very young. And she said that she thinks that that was a sweet side of the Bell Witch manifesting itself. And I like the idea of the Bell Witch having, it can come in different forms. And if it's in a good mood, it's going to come as like a little giggling girl who's maybe going to play with your daughter and be nice. Still sounds terrifying because it's a ghost thing, but maybe it's like, yeah, I like these people. I'm powerful enough to show myself how I want. I can be a weird dog with a rabbit head, or I can be a nice girl who's playing.
That's also very, something about that feels very much like The Shining to me too, where it's like the spirit can manifest as whatever it needs to.
Yeah.
And it feels like what people are like, right?
Yeah.
If a spirit is like the soul of a person trapped on Earth, who has unfinished business or something, they might be troubled.
Right.
Like maybe like my mood fluctuates.
Yeah.
Maybe a ghost does too.
That's totally true. What are we if not ghosts in bodies?
Don't pigeonhole me. I'm not just one thing.
No, of course. We contain multitudes. But when Lucy Butler was young, in the 60s, she did see a very scary thing. She wasn't on the receiving end of it, but she observed it. So she said the witch didn't like her father, Lucy Butler's father. And it also said that he may have had some Florida mafia ties. So this guy sounds like he might have been a piece of work. He's also an actor and just seemed like he was maybe extra as they say. So she said one day in the 60s, they were getting ready to have a party at their house. Her dad was getting ready to have a party. And she came downstairs and she saw, this is so weird, crickets filling the living room and then filing into the very expensive stereo that he had just bought for the party. And like, it was the 60s, so that kind of stuff was very expensive back then. And so she thinks that the Bell Witch was like punishing him and messing with him because she didn't like him and like ruining his fancy stereo equipment. And Lucy said that she thinks that the Bell Witch punishes the ones meant to be punished and was good to the ones that she liked.
Wow. I like that. Some sort of a judgmental spirit, the ghost of Santa Claus.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. Well, does Santa Claus doesn't punish. The coal?
Yeah, that's a punishment.
That's not that bad, though.
The absence of a gift is a punishment, let alone the reminder that you...
punishment, but it's not like pinching and slapping people and filling their tummies with pins and stuff, you know?
No, Santa's less harsh than the Bell Witch, but he certainly is doing a...
He is vengeful.
Yeah.
Santa is vengeful.
Yeah, you've been naughty.
Never thought about that before.
Doesn't give me my boombox. Gives me an educational Christmas.
Ooh, that was a rough year, Santa. I also got a vest that I wanted during that educational Christmas, though. It was like a hippie, like, patchwork vest. So that was a small saving grace on educational Christmas.
Thank God.
Ugh. So I'm going to end with Lucy Butler, current day Lucy's kind of account of this sort of stuff and what he's experienced coming into the Bell family as an outsider. So he said that he didn't really believe in it when he came in. He just didn't really believe in ghosts and stuff. And then he said one day he was over at Lucy's apartment and that jewelry that Lucy had hanging up in her bedroom started shaking. So he went in and checked it out to see if like there was an air vent that was causing movement or something, and there wasn't. And he was just like, all right, fine, okay, and retreated to the living room. It was like, I'm just going to leave that be. And then a tassel hanging from a lamp in the living room started spinning rapidly in circles. So he said, this is a quote, I said, that's it, he recalled. Saturday morning, daylight, I walked out. Lucy had the whole month's rent paid, but I moved out of there. It freaked me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not enough. He stayed around. They're still happily married, whatever. But an outsider experienced a little bit of the Bell Witch maybe messing with them, maybe testing him. Because the Bell Witch wasn't doing anything like expressly mean or evil. Maybe just feeling out what kind of guy this is and whether they want to punish him or they want to like him.
And swinging a tassel around does like conjure an image of somebody like, hanging out in the corner. Just watching you twirling this thing around.
Yeah, I'm just seeing what I think you and how you're going to react to me, and then I'll make my judgments based on that.
You're going to get along.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds like they get along okay, because it doesn't sound like Lucy Butler and her husband are pursued in a scary way by the Bell Witch. Current day, there's a Bell Witch Fall Festival in Tennessee. I checked the website. Tickets are on sale right now if anybody wants to go to that.
Very cool.
And they put on a play every year called Spirit about the Bell Witch and the original Bell Witch story in the area that used to be Bell Farm. Which is very cool and creepy. It happens at night. Yeah. And they do like a Bell Witch play.
That's like that thing going around right now of you can watch Jaws on the water.
Yes, I posted that. Yeah.
You can watch a play about the Bell Witch on the land.
Where it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Right? Cool, right?
I love that.
So there's a lot else you guys can look up if you're into it. But that is a slice of the Bell Witch.
Wonderful. Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
Thank you, Dave.
I wish she would still speak. I wish that she would still let her voice ring out.
Let her voice be heard.
And be like, which one of you shall I expose as a rascal this evening? Like, it's me again. I know, I'm scared. But
you got me.
In my defense, why wouldn't I be?
Right.
You are a ghost.
You're a witch, and you're scaring me. You keep talking to me.
All right, well.
Yeah.
My topic for the evening is a little bit of a celebration. Mm-hmm. We're hitting 75 episodes of this show. I figured I would pull out one of the big guns.
Okay.
A big mythical creature, monster, whatever you want to call it.
Great.
Let's talk all about Bigfoot.
Ooh, great. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
The other thing that I want to talk about in getting into Bigfoot is the fact that I really enjoy our listener, viewer base, people that watch and listen to this show. And,
yes, me too.
And reach out to us on social media and stuff.
Yeah.
Like @Schooled.
Mm-hmm. Ugh.
Schooled with 3 O's.
Yeah.
She uses Guide to the Unknown as a jumping stone to homeschool lessons.
Yes.
Using folklore to teach real topics
Right.
that like anybody would need to get an education on.
Right.
And so each week when we release the show, invariably we get a post finding out how our topics for the week
Right.
were used for educational purposes.
I know. It's so cool. I love it so much.
It's incredible.
It really is crazy.
The ingenuity of these lessons is wild.
Have you gone to her account, like, besides just looking at the post that she tags us in?
Yeah.
Did you see her, like, wheel of folklore?
Yes.
And, like, it's so cool.
Absolutely incredible. And frankly, she is why I'm talking about Bigfoot.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because everybody follow @Schooled with
Yep.
3 O's.
Yeah, it's really neat.
There's a post about an old worksheet that she'd put together about the Sasquatch.
Oh, cool.
And it was labeled Math Squatch.
Oh my God. I just want to mention, Schooled is Amy, who, if you've been listening for a long time to the show, has made embroidery hoops.
Yeah, we have.
Based on things that we've talked about in the show, that we've talked about and shown on the video version before. This is a very cool person, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. We have
Yeah.
a Banshee embroidery
Yep.
that she sent us up here in the background in the video version. Yeah, really amazing. But so this Math Squatch worksheet, I looked through it, and there's like a lot of good information on it, but look at how it's turned into like an educational lesson.
Okay.
So there are different sections on the Math Squatch worksheet. Here's a quote. First spotted by the Iroquois, the midnight whistler weighs around X pounds. So midnight whistler is a
The
thing about...
Midnight Whistler.
Yeah, it's a term for a Bigfoot. Weighs around X pounds and sounds like a steam engine when it whistles. To get the answer for how much it weighs, you have to multiply 8 times 5 times 2 times 5.
Oh my God.
Isn't that brilliant?
Yes. Oh, I would have done so much better in school if
I
it was structured this way.
honestly,
That's-
seriously,
No, I know. I'm not kidding. That's so cool.
if you had to do your work properly
Yep.
to find out cool monster facts,
Yeah.
yeah. Another one. Bigfoot legends go back at least blank years. 75 times 4 times 10 is the answer.
That is so cool.
Now remember, this is Math Squatch, so it's all
Yes,
particularly
of
mathy.
course. Remember MathNet that we loved?
Of course I remember MathNet.
Yeah.
I'm peeved. Well, I'm not feeling very well myself, pal. MathNet.
Ugh, it was on PBS when we were kids, and it was like Dragnet, but math stuff. It was so good.
So
Will and I
good.
were obsessed with it.
There are also some fun facts on the worksheet. Sasquatch fur might be brown, black, gray, white, and even greenish blue. All colors have been reported by Bigfoot sighters. And according to BigfootFinder.com, Sasquatch is immune to pepper spray and is thought to be incapable of sneezing.
That's awesome. What?
School would have been different for me,
Oh, big time.
is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
So anyway, this one is a big thank you to Amy
absolutely.
@School with 3 O's.
Man, this is a real like listener-made episode because
Yeah.
Dave listens to the show, and that's how the Bell Witch came up.
Yeah.
Amy.
At the risk
thank
of
you,
sounding
guys.
corny, the show, quite frankly, does
Well-
not exist without
Yes.
people enjoying
Yes.
it.
In general.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into some of the basics.
Okay.
And I need somebody. I need to thank somebody else.
Ah.
All my research for this episode was done by Allie.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. She. I've been coming up against
really
some deadlines, and she
nice.
asked me if I needed some help getting ready for Guide to the Unknown this week. And I was like, I don't want to, I don't want to gobble up your time either.
Yeah.
And then a couple hours later, I was like, all right, I've got time to start doing the research on the topic. If you want to send me whatever you got.
Yeah.
She's put together way more data than I ever do for this show.
Oh, Allie, that's
She did a great job.
so nice.
So thank you very much, Allie.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So, Sasquatch,
Yeah.
or Bigfoot, is a North American creature described as hairy, upright walking, and ape-like. It dwells in the wilderness, and his most common signature is its footprints. I think we all are aware, at least, of the idea of sort of crackpot theories of a Bigfoot
Yeah.
lurking around in the Pacific Northwest, in like Washington, British Columbia, and nobody ever really sees it.
Yeah.
Or you might hear somebody that was like, I saw a Bigfoot.
Right.
But primarily, the piece of evidence that's presented are plaster casts of gigantic footprints.
Right.
Undeniable proof
Yes.
of a Bigfoot.
Absolutely.
No human being could have
Would
made
have a
these
foot
footprints.
that big.
Or just fake it. It's
I know,
impossible.
just at Ripley's Believe It or Not museum, in Toronto, and they had the shoes of like the biggest woman's feet in the world or something. And I
They're
feel like
pretty
they
big.
could rival Bigfoot's.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's good evidence for or against Bigfoot, that people can be mighty big.
Unclear.
Yeah. A human can be a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I recently found out I am a Littlefoot. I've been wearing the wrong shoes for years.
It's amazing. Anyway.
Bigfoot and the Sasquatch are thought to be a missing link between humans and apes, particularly. It is thought that Bigfoot was descended from an ancient ape from Asia called Gigantopithecus that existed millions of years ago.
A sweet ass name.
Maybe it came over the Bering Land Bridge, like a lot of animals
Maybe.
did. To, like there's the whole convergent, divergent evolution thing where it's like, well, how did all these animals exist on multiple continents? It's because of things like Pangea.
Yeah.
Before the continents split apart. Or these passes that allow you to get from one place to another, even though it seems inexplicable.
Right.
And I love the idea of Sasquatch as an explainable phenomenon.
Yeah.
Sasquatch is the result of millions of years of evolution, just like us, except where we diverted from the ape family, there was a common ancestor that continued
Right.
on.
Apey.
Apey.
Yeah.
History. There are many wild man myths from all over the world, says Joshua Blabuzz.
I'm sorry, can you spell that for me?
I don't think I can. It's
What?
spelled phonetically here.
Oh!
Blabuzz, author of Bigfoot, The Life and Times of a Legend.
Yeah.
Wild man myths. The reason why that is the term used here is because Sasquatch means wild man.
Oh.
Yeah. It actually comes from an old word, sesquak, meaning literally wild man in Halcomelem.
That sounds right.
Well, I'm just trying to pronounce things properly.
I know.
Used by the Coast Salish Indians of the Fraser Valley and parts of Vancouver Island, British Columbia.
Okay.
Canada, Kristen, Canada.
Yeah, Canada.
The Fraser Valley. I could walk for miles and miles there.
William.
Never get tired.
William. You distracted me because I was going to try to think of a tossed salad and scrambled egg joke, but that is way better.
Whoa.
I'd walk
We're
miles
the only
and
one-
miles for a tossed salad and scrambled egg.
Well, we're the only ones around for miles, so who ate all the tossed salad and scrambled eggs? Sasquatch.
Wait, what's the dog's name?
Eddie.
Eddie.
Eddie. Tribes across North America have a total of more than 60 different terms for Sasquatch. So
heard that.
let's get into how we got from Sasquatch to Sasquatch. It is, quite frankly, just a mistaken pronunciation.
Oh, okay.
If you're familiar with, and I know you are, the 1999 Godzilla movie,
Of course I am. I'm familiar with the soundtrack.
so there is... Oh, man. Come with me.
Hell yeah. And that weird remix of, I don't remember what Green Day's, I don't remember what the song is called, but it's like basically the same song, but just with Godzilla squawks in it.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, you're right. Man, Bobby and I
God.
did a cover of Come With Me that we
Oh,
called
God, that's right.
that we called Come With Me and Bobby.
That's right. God,
It's
that was
available.
so funny.
It's available on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
We both sing it. I rap.
It's amazing.
I rap in it, and at one point I sound like George Costanza.
Yes.
Because P. Diddy goes, "I'm going to take you with me," like that, but I went, "I'm going to take you with me, Jerry."
I forgot about
I also screw up a
that.
line and I go, "I'm seductive. Some women find that seductive."
Yep.
That's in the song "Come With Me and Bobby." Go to SoundCloud. I don't remember what username it's under.
That is so funny.
Available
I totally
now.
forgot.
Blasted in your cars.
Yeah.
But anyway, the reason I brought that movie up is because Harry Shearer
Okay.
in that movie watches a tape of an old man who survived a Godzilla attack. The Japanese name for Godzilla is Gojira. Harry Shearer watches the footage and then presents it on the news by going, "He's saying Godzilla." And that's where the name came from. So it's
Oh.
just,
Yeah.
sort of I don't know what you want to call it, the hubris of
Yeah. Thinking that you
average
know better.
American. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Here's what this weird word is. I'll fix it.
Yeah. Totally.
Sasquatch.
That's crazy.
Done. But it literally means wild man.
That's nuts to me.
Yeah. Sasquatch legends have been part of the Chehalis tribe for centuries. In fact, their oral history says that the Sasquatch are their mortal enemies.
Ooh.
The legends date back at least 3 generations before 1934. Isn't that like a weird way to date time?
Yes.
It's like that 7 years ago.
Yeah,
like,
why are you saying it that way?
3 generations before 1934. First Nations people...
Maybe they don't know what they're considering a generation, so they just had to be like, all right, 3 generations
3
before.
generations
Yeah.
before 1934.
Yeah.
First Nations people all over the place have legends about the Sasquatch, and rock paintings appear to have been made about them. One cool story comes from a Quinault woman, Harvest Moon. She tells the story of the Glukeek monster she learned from a Lumi elder, and its ties to the creation of mosquitoes. We're going to get into a folklore story that is based on the Sasquatch, but explains where mosquitoes come from, Kristen.
Amazing.
The monster frightens tribal members and prevents them from hunting and gathering food. Here is the legend.
Okay.
His legs were as big as tree trunks, she said while swaying her hips and making arm and hand gestures during a recent storytelling presentation at the Lake Quinault Lodge. His skin was as tough as leather, and his eyes had a hypnotic glow to them. The monster started chasing the woman through the berry patch. He took his huge, big feet, knocking over every basket
Berry
of...
in sight.
You're
Oh,
not wrong. Knocking over every basket of berries, wasting them on the ground.
that's terrible.
Bigfoot kicked over my berry bunch.
My berry bushel.
According to the legend, warriors from various tribes gathered and vowed to kill the monster. They dug a hole, tricked Glukeek, this is Sasquatch, by the way, I didn't point
Okay.
that out, but I think that's clear,
Okay.
tricked Glukeek into falling into it and burned him. As Glukeek perished, he swore he would return to drink the villagers' blood.
Oh my God.
As his ashes ascended into the air, they transformed into mosquitoes.
I love that.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Bigfoot's been terrorizing, and we're talking about like real like hunter gatherer.
Right.
If we don't get that bushel of berries,
Yeah.
we're done.
We die.
We need that.
Right.
Why are you kicking over my berries, Bigfoot?
Maybe he's just clumsy. You know, his feet are so big.
Maybe he just wanted some berries.
Right. I don't know from that story that he was maliciously kicking over baskets. The guy's called Bigfoot.
It's an
You know what I
interesting
mean?
interpretation. I've been
The
known to
baskets
be.
are on the ground.
I've been known to be clumsy.
Who isn't clumsy?
I wouldn't want to be put in a hole and burned.
No, it's not. I don't know if it was Bigfoot's fault.
And with the drinking blood, I mean.
Yeah.
The juice from berries, blood is what? It's just basically human
Is that
juice.
not blood?
Doesn't he
is that
just
not-
want a nice sip of juice?
Absolutely. Who doesn't? You did with your baskets of berries.
Yeah.
So you're telling me you can't understand him?
Oh, now I can't have my juice.
We're so different.
Anyway, the first Sasquatch sighting, quote, by a white man,
Okay.
as if this is like
So does this give it more credence? is the
exactly.
thing?
I think that's
Nice.
the intended message
Mm-hmm.
here. Was in 1811 near what is now Jasper in Alberta, Canada. A trader named David Thompson found some footprints 14 inches wide with 4 toes in the snow. In 1884,
Toes in the snow.
toes in the snow.
There was one time in an apartment I lived in where I found barefoot footprints coming from the other apartment to like take out garbage or something like that. I assume. But I was like, why would you just put shoes on real quick?
I don't always put shoes
So
on when I go outside.
Barefoot in the snow?
Sure.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
It feels nicey.
Does it?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. All right. It doesn't seem like it would feel nice to me.
Well, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's very refreshing.
Really?
Sure.
That's crazy to me.
No, it's I don't know.
It just doesn't sound refreshing to me at all. It sounds so unpleasant.
If you're doing it for 2 seconds, if I'm taking a like garbage outside or something like that,
no socks or anything? Just
socks would
bare...
make it worse because your socks.
Yeah,
would
it
get
would make
wet.
it worse. But just bare... Ugh. No, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It makes you feel a little more tied to nature. You know?
I guess.
Yeah. Why the hell not?
Huh.
Why the
okay.
hell not?
All right.
So anyway, in 1884, the newspaper The Daily Colonist of Victoria, British Columbia, talked about the capture of a Sasquatch. This is in the newspaper.
Yeah.
The creature was spotted by a train crew. They stopped the train, chased it, and captured it after it ran up a rocky hill. They named it Jacko.
You know, this is like with the Jersey Devil. A train full of people saw it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was in the newspapers.
Yeah, that's right. I guess a
going
train
on?
full of people, it's moving so
I was about to
fast.
say, it's moving so fast that you could think you're seeing something that's not there.
Yeah. Plus, it's really fun
Yeah.
to be able to be like, I saw it too!
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you get caught up in the hype.
Yeah. If I have kids someday, there's a very good chance that I will do stuff like just be like, I saw a Bigfoot once.
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why
Right?
not? It's not that different from talking about Santa Claus.
That's absolutely
Again,
true.
Santa comes up.
Yep. Yeah, you're
What
right.
is with this guy today? He's really hovering over us.
He just doesn't want to leave well enough alone.
No.
So they named it Jacko and said it was, quote, something of the gorilla type. Standing 4 feet 7 inches in height,
What?
oddly short and specific,
Littlefoot.
and weighing
How big were his
127
feet?
pounds. He has long, black, strong hair and resembles a human being with one exception. His entire body, excepting his hands or paws and feet, are covered with glossy hair about 1 inch long. He possesses extraordinary strength, as he will take hold of a stick and break it by wrenching it or twisting it,
I could do that.
which no man could break in the same way. How dare you say that?
That's really funny.
No human could have broken a stick this way.
Right.
Next line. This might have been a chimpanzee. Asterisk. In every book about Bigfoot, I bet
Yeah.
it's covered with asterisks and footnotes that just say, might have been a chimpanzee. To be fair, this might have been an ape. Saw this weird footprint, asterisk.
God.
It was at the zoo,
Right.
in the gorilla enclosure.
Do you remember on the Low Files when he went squatch hunting?
Do I remember? I have a section in here about it.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Well, let's just jump to it. We'll just
right.
take a quick sojourn.
Yeah.
Because we're doing like some history. Let's get to some like fun pop
Yeah.
culture. And then we'll go back to history.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So Rob Lowe had a short-lived show that was wonderful. I think it existed as
like
we
6
were doing Guide to the
episodes.
Unknown, right?
No,
like
it was
came and
Book
went.
Club Schmuck Club.
It was on.
Because
oh.
I've tried to go back and find us. Well, I succeeded. I wanted to find us talking about it, and we talked about it on a bonus episode of Book Club Schmuck Club.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a show that actor Rob Lowe, hosted with his sons Matthew and John Owen.
Mm-hmm.
And the three of them would go on adventures to discover stuff that we like here on
Yeah,
Guide to the
totally.
Unknown. And one of the big episodes they did that's relevant to this conversation is they went out to find the wood ape.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the Ozark Mountains, and the people that they were with basically insisted, don't call it Sasquatch, don't call it Bigfoot.
Right.
These are things that dumb it down
Yes.
and make people laugh at us. This is a real animal that just hasn't been spotted, hasn't been documented. Don't laugh about it. It's called the wood ape.
Right.
And this is a couple of excerpts from an interview where he says, I'm fully aware that I sound crazy, like a Hollywood kook right now, that the fact that he was
Yeah.
there to find the wood ape.
Oh,
They
so
ask,
good.
were you genuinely terrified? He goes, genuinely terrified? I was lying on the ground thinking I was going to be killed.
Remember how fun his scared face was? He was always like,
He would, but like he always had like a little bit of a smile.
yeah, because he was loving. He was enjoying it so much.
He always had a wry look on his face.
It was a wry look.
It was a wry look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
God, I love that show.
The Low Files.
Yeah.
If only. If they
I know.
reboot the Low Files.
Do you remember that I ran a very small campaign? To call it a campaign is too much. But I follow the Low Files on Instagram and all the Low boys plus their teacup chihuahua, whose name I can't remember. I'm all in on these Lows. And like earlier, like I don't know, a while ago,
Yeah.
the Low Files Instagram account suddenly posted something where they're like, "Hey, would anybody like a season 2?" And I was like, yes!" And I like posted on all of our social media, like, "Everybody, please swarm the Low Files Instagram account and tell them we need a season 2." And I saw some of our listeners do it, which I appreciated very much. But there's been no news on that front.
Damn. It was a wonderful show.
I loved it.
It was
Yeah.
really great. It was very enjoyable. It
Yep.
was heartwarming.
They had such a nice relationship.
They really did. The only other possible request would be to get some sort of a brother and sister duo
Right.
to go out and do adventures. But
Who's up to that kind
who
of
would
challenge?
we get to do something like that?
I don't know.
Get at me, Mr. Hollywood.
Please. By Mr. Hollywood, you mean Rob Lowe?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So where we left off in the
A
history.
reboot of the Low Files starring us.
The much, much, much lower files.
It's still called the low files, but it's confusing, but we think it'll work.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, it didn't.
Yeah.
All right, so where we left off in the history, this thing managed to bend a stick and break it
Yeah.
in a way no man could.
Can you imagine?
Now, this immediately made me think, Bobby and I took an anthropology class, and we missed a class where they were showing a video about chimpanzee society,
Right.
for lack of a better word. And we found out that they have... they do like feats of strength if they're going to
God.
fight with each
Yeah.
other. They don't like go mano a mano and duke it out
Right.
because they're chimps.
Right.
As if people would think like they probably just punch each other in the face, right?
I know kangaroos with their boxing.
Oh, kangaroos
you know?
are terrifying.
They freak me right out.
Yeah. So there was we got to watch this video. We got a makeup day. They put us in a cushy boardroom
Amazing.
with big high back leather chairs on wheels, and we were just rolling around watching a video of chimps.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
the only two people in the room. It was perfect.
Yeah.
And there was the leader of this group. He had a mischievous brother, and the mischievous brother started like poking at the babies.
Yeah.
And stealing food from the babies.
That's not nice.
So the leader had to show his brother what's what. You don't do this.
No.
You don't do this to my
Not in
family.
our chimp society.
So the way that they fight each other is they prove their strength to each other. And so there's a 5-minute segment of the video where these two chimps are sizing each other up, and they splash around in a river. And the narrator goes it's a very intimidating act because most chimpanzees can't stand getting their feet wet. So it's see what I can do.
That's so
Getting
awesome.
my feet wet in this creek doesn't
Yeah.
even make me feel icky. You're going to regret messing with
That's
me.
how strong
and
I
then
am.
they pick up a stick and break it in front of
Yeah.
each other. This is you. When you're a kid, you break a stick and you go, this is you.
Yeah.
Snap. This is you. You break it. And that's all this made me think of.
Yeah,
is
totally.
this. There were
So this
people
was
on
a
a train.
chimpanzee.
There were people on a train that saw a chimp and were like, whoa!
Yeah.
And then the chimp was like, you don't laugh at me. You don't point at me. Look at this. Ugh.
This is you.
This is you. Ugh. Whoa, no human could have done that. All right. Here's another sighting. 1910. 2 miners were found with their heads chopped off.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yikes.
That's just crazy. And it was
Sharp pivot.
it was attributed to Bigfoot,
Okay.
but it seems it might have been done by other humans.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anyway. In 1924, there were 3 major sightings. The first was by a lumberjack who was captured by a family
Okay.
of Bigfoot. The father
Oh.
and daughter guarded him while the mother and son prepared meals. They were vegetarian and ate roots, grass, and spruce tips. He escaped.
That's adorable.
He escaped after a week and didn't tell anyone until 1957. This is, 33 years later, thinking people would have thought he was crazy.
Yeah. Well, that sounds
The mere
about
fact
right.
that he didn't try to capitalize on it in the
Yeah.
moment or something
Right.
lends, to be frank, lends some credence
Right.
to the idea, unless he was just now he's in his 60s and he's like, I ever tell you about that time I got
Yeah.
kidnapped by a family of big feet? Okay. Second
I would
sighting.
imagine he must have had something to back it up.
I
Because,
don't.
how would you just not think, you just came up with this?
Spruce tips is a very specific.
It is very specific.
Yeah.
But good liars know that specific details make it.
I know,
Devil's
but
in
I
the
don't think I
details.
would have come up with spruce tips.
Maybe he's an accomplished woodsman.
I'm not sure what
And he
spruce
knows.
tips are.
I don't know. The tip of a spruce tree?
What's a spruce? A spruce is just a tree?
Yeah.
They climb up to the top of the tree where all the
I
yummiest bits
guess.
are.
Maybe it's like the end of a spruce branch? Who knows?
know.
Sounds good.
The second sighting in 1924, a group of miners, always miners,
Yeah.
found a Bigfoot and shot at it. And then a
Maybe
group
are
of them.
mines, do they start in forests? Are there, outlets of mines in wooded areas?
I guess so.
guess.
Yeah, I mean, when was the? This is another one of those moments where I just expose my
Yeah.
stupidity. When was the gold rush? Right, it's definitely before 1924.
I'll tell you about it later. I just don't want to talk about it right now, but I do know.
Yeah, of course. But you got to imagine at a certain point we
Yeah.
were exploring the wilderness of the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
Treading into territory that did not belong to us.
Right. That's true.
So so they shot at a Bigfoot, and then a group of them surrounded the cabin and terrorized the miners by throwing stones, pounding the walls, and climbing on the roof. It lasted all night.
I would die.
The next day, the miners split and abandoned the mine. The place where this happened is now called Ape Canyon.
That's cool.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Years later, a miner came forward to explain that he'd been the one to throw the rocks.
Wait, but what about like them crawling all over the cabin and stuff like that? I guess it was just a ton of rocks.
Maybe it was him and a bunch of big feet. It only says he was the one that threw the rocks.
Yeah.
So
right,
wait.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if they were, like, crawling all over the cabin all night, that doesn't account for that. Maybe both things are true. Maybe this guy threw some rocks, but also a bunch of big feet were crawling all over this cabin.
Yeah, so he was like, yeah, let's get him, guys. Yeah. You're my friends now.
Or totally separate incidents.
Oh,
These guys just had a night of bad luck.
I threw the rocks.
Yeah.
I did not pound on the walls or
do
climb
the other
roof.
stuff.
Yeah. Inexplicable.
Yeah.
Finally, near Mount St. Helens, a prospector claimed that he was awoken in the night when stones were thrown at his cabin. Outside, he saw a bunch of Sasquatches, and they screamed, quote, like a bunch of apes. The next day, he found huge footprints. Now, this is all in the 20s, and this is after hundreds of years of sort of like stories and rumors and folklore and mythology. The story of Bigfoot really takes off like a shot in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
In 1958, Andrew Genzoli, a journalist with the Humboldt Times, highlighted a letter from a reader about loggers in Northern California who had discovered mysteriously large footprints. Mm-hmm. The writer of the letter was a bulldozer operator named Jerry Crew. He found the footprints around where he was working in Humboldt County, California. He made a cast of these footprints. The Humboldt Times ran the story and the footprint, a photo of the footprint in the paper. The journalist wrote, "Maybe we have a relative of the abominable snowman of the Himalayas."
Cool.
He didn't think much of it, but readers were instantly hooked. Later, he and journalist Betty Allen published a follow-up article with footprints reporting that the loggers had named the creature Bigfoot. This is where Bigfoot comes from. Prior to this, Sasquatch. I've been using them interchangeably.
What does Sasquatch mean again? Do you remember?
Sesquak, wild man.
Right.
Even though the loggers didn't really seem to believe in the creatures, they blamed acts of vandalism on it. And the story spread like wildfire. The TV show Truth or Consequences offered $1,000 to anyone who could prove the existence of Bigfoot.
That's cool.
Immediately, Bigfoot became a character in adventure magazines and trade paperback novels and was always referred to as he, a primal, dangerous creature from our past who lurked in the unknown woods. By the 1970s, there were documentaries investigating him, and films showed him as a sexual predator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of makes sense. Like, you know, like thinking of like the old Universal monster movies of like whatever his name is, Aquaman. No, that's not Aquaman.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, like, you know, carrying that woman
gonna, like,
and
take
stuff.
a woman back into the water.
Yeah, like monsters who are preying on women as a whole thing. Dracula with you know, women.
They're trying to take our women.
Right. So I guess it makes
They
sense.
belong to us, Bigfoot.
Yeah. There's a monster, and it's like, no, these are ours.
Yeah, these are
like,
ours.
That's like the worst thing that a monster can do is like take our women.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Stop treating our things like things.
Exactly. And also it gives you a reason to put like, you know, probably like hotsy-totsy looking women in danger on things.
I guess that's
that always
true.
sells.
Yeah.
People love that.
Yeah,
They're
you're right.
sickos.
Later in the 80s, Bigfoot became associated with environmentalism. Don't chop down the woods. That's where Bigfoot lives.
Yeah.
For example, in Harry and the Hendersons, once again, thank you, Allie, for putting together these notes. Bigfoot needs John Lithgow and his family to protect him. No sense here. All right. Let's get some
I know
evidence.
I've seen Harry and the Hendersons, but like I don't really remember it or anything.
I don't remember. I have no idea. I definitely saw it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
I think there were
watched it.
two maybe, right?
It was definitely in front of me while my eyes were open and I was awake.
Yeah.
All right, so the evidence. The biggest piece of evidence. The Patterson footage.
Thank you. It was really bugging me what this was called. Okay.
Yeah. This is like, hey, kids, this was a viral video before the internet.
Oh boy, love that.
In 1967, Roger Patterson
So many things were viral videos before the internet.
That's true.
It's the original viral video. I feel like they say about like a million.
Right. Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So in 1967, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, both fans of the foot,
That's awesome.
announced that they'd captured a Bigfoot with a movie camera. They filmed a few seconds of the ape-like creature, apparently female, moving across a clearing near Bluff Creek in Northern California. The film is not perfectly clear, but there is no mistaking the creature in the film for some other animal. No one has ever proven the film fake, but some viewers were made suspicious by the unnatural stride the creature had. A Smithsonian scientist who viewed the film admitted, "I couldn't see the zipper, and I still can't."
Oh.
This is pretty undeniably fake. I think, I didn't look this up, and
What
I
if it's
should
a
have.
button? Have we explored that option?
Might have been a button. Maybe it was buttoned down the front. My shirt is.
Although a button fly is a real pain, so I can't imagine that they'd want to be dealing with that in that hot costume.
That's a good point, Kristen.
We're going to go with a button fly on this thing? I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure that Roger Patterson came out later and admitted that it was fake.
I know. I'm having like a weird moment. I don't know if I like started to research Bigfoot and I abandoned it for the show, or I just on a personal level was like doing a bunch of research on Bigfoot at one point. But I remember looking into all of this stuff, and I do think that he came out and said it was fake.
Which is a shame. I think,
Yeah.
didn't we have the same thing happened with the Loch Ness Monster? Right? There was that, like...
I don't remember because it was so god-awful boring.
Yeah, it was. We turned the Loch Ness Monster into
Yeah.
a mini Monster Madness.
Yes.
Didn't even get a full feature.
Yeah, but that was a good episode because I pivoted to Daniel Stern instead. So
That was where Daniel Stern's story came
yeah,
from?
I thought that he was going to be the mini monster and the Loch Ness was going to be the main event.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Swap.
All right. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that he admitted that it's fake, which is like, it's a shame. If you've got everybody,
Yeah.
like they used to show this footage, the footage of Sasquatch walking around in those woods, it's blurry footage, and the long stride, it just sort of turns and looks
Yeah,
at the
it's like
camera for a
looking-
moment,
yeah.
like, I see you. I
Right.
see you filming me, and disappears.
Yeah.
Chilling.
Yeah.
That has been like repurposed, referenced in real horror movies. In M. Night Shyamalan's Signs,
Yep.
they're watching television footage, and there are a bunch of kids at a birthday party, and they're going like, "It's outside! It's outside!" And the
Yeah.
camera looks out the window, and an alien walks across an alleyway in the exact same style of film as the Bigfoot footage.
Right.
And it sends a chill down my spine every time I see
Signs
it.
rules.
Signs is a good movie
Yeah.
that has a lot of dumb stuff in it and
Yeah,
gets
but-
dumped on more than it deserves.
Yeah, totally. I think that it's way better than people give it credit for.
Yeah, we watched it recently, and it was great.
I haven't watched it in a while, but I know I really like it.
Had a blast.
Yeah.
All right, hoaxes. I'll make this quick. We're getting toward the end here. There are tons of hoax footprints that have been made with, wooden feet or altered boots. Allie has a note here.
Altered boots.
Altered boots. Allie has a note here. One company even produced a set of oversized plastic feet that you could use to fool your friends and family. Or fit your size 13 shoes. That I don't actually need.
Oh,
Maybe I should be wearing fake plastic feet and then putting shoes on top of those.
maybe that would help.
All right. The biggest, coolest hoax of all time, in
Yeah.
the Bigfoot arena at least, is the Minnesota Iceman. Discovered by a Milwaukee zoology student called Terry Cullen in December 1968 at the Chicago International Livestock Exhibition and Fair as a sideshow exhibit. This is the first time we know that this thing existed. Everything after this point, after December 1968, is hearsay, possibly made up, possibly entirely fake. The Minnesota Iceman was a creature found and killed by a man named Frank Hansen. He killed the Minnesota Iceman, basically Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Shot him in the face
Okay.
and put his body on ice
Okay.
to show around. At a certain point, when he was reading about the abominable snowman and Bigfoot and stuff, he was like, "Oh, this is a popular thing. I have one.
Yeah.
I have one because I killed a monster." Huh.
I got him on ice.
Yeah.
Where is he storing him on ice?
In his basement.
Oh my god! When you said you put him on ice, I thought you meant that this was like on ice, but traveling with him. Like he was like P.T. Barnuming this person.
Well, he eventually did.
Eventually,
Eventually, yeah. It's weird that he didn't
The
do it to
fact that
start.
it's not immediate is crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So he met a veteran showman who was very interested in the hairy creature to display at fairs. So Frank contacted his attorney since he was worried about displaying a corpse
Yeah.
that he had shot. The attorney said that he should make a model. So he drew up plans, quote, from life, and contacted makeup and special effects houses, paid them several $1,000s to make a model of the real body that he had of a Bigfoot. He then added lifelike touches like a bloody eye, broken arm, blood-soaked hair to match the one in his freezer.
Holy crap.
He then put it on display and came up with sources of stories. There are like 3 different stories of how he got this thing in the first place. They're Coco Bonanza.
Yeah.
They don't make any sense. Word spread that the thing was probably fake. So he thought it would be safe to put the real thing on display, prove that it was real. All of a sudden, medical doctors and scientists started getting interested. In 1968, that guy, Terry Cullen, saw it and realized that it was real. He told a naturalist and author of books about the abominable snowman about it, and they spent 3 days examining the creature. The corpse was that of an adult male with large hands and feet. Its skin was covered in dark brown hair that, for the most part, was 3 to 4 inches long. The creature had been shot through one eye and had a gaping wound and fracture to the left arm. In places where the ice had melted, the 2 investigators could, gross out alert, smell putrefaction, leading them to believe the body was authentic. This is not a model. This was a once-living thing.
Right.
They could hardly believe what they saw. They later published a report on the creature in the February 1969 bulletin of the Royal Institute of Natural Sciences of Belgium. He called the creature the Homo pongoides and stated, "The search for the rumored live ape man or missing link has at last been successful. They are validating this creature as being a Bigfoot."
This is nuts.
Yeah. The Iceman, one of the investigator guys, Sanderson, mentioned the Iceman on an appearance on The Tonight Show. And all hell broke loose. The FBI and Smithsonian requested permission to study the body.
Yeah.
Hansen refused everyone. Also, law enforcement thought it might be a human victim.
Yeah.
Yeah. After this interest, the body vanished.
Oh, boy.
And only the fake remains. It was thought, therefore... It was thought, therefore, that the exhibit had been a fake from the start. But the original investigators say that's not true.
What?
The Iceman fake body was displayed all over the country at state fairs and is rumored to show up to this day. Hansen has kept a low profile since 1970. No one knows where he is.
What?
The body was real, and no one knows where it is. Government?
This
Big Brother?
crazy.
Big Brother? I'm ready to listen.
This is insane.
If true.
If true. Yeah, I guess if true. I assumed this story was going to go in a direction where they drew blood and they found it was human blood. And it was a guy who had I don't know, is it called hirsutism, where you're like covered in hair? I don't remember. But I thought it was going to be something like that. I did not know that we're just going to lose this thing.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah. No. The government was interested in this thing, and suddenly it's not around anymore. We're not allowed to know about the these mysterious things. They might even tell us
to look more into that.
They might even just tell us that the will-o-wisp is
right. It's just
gas
swamp
igniting.
gas. Well, yeah, it's like there's that. I don't remember it right, but remember in that article from the New York Times about the UFOs, they said kind of like casually that there's like a building in Vegas or something like that that has insane technology. That
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that wasn't like just crazy like conspiracy talk. That's like a real thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's impossible that the government...
I don't think it's impossible at all.
...could have found this and done away with it. But I also think it's possible that it could just be not true.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, not impossible.
No.
Whoa, I need to look into that more. That's crazy.
It's wild.
What do you think about Bigfoot and Sasquatch and the wood ape and all of this? And all this?
I think that it is probably a combination of a few things. It's probably another sort of creature that people used to tell their children about so that they would make sure to come home by nightfall. Don't go running around in the woods on your own. The wood ape is in there. And then I think it became a convenient icon for manifest destiny. And more importantly, like, hey, couldn't we just leave stuff alone?
Yeah.
Isn't there such a thing as having enough?
Right.
Do we need to chop everything down?
No. Yeah.
I don't think it exists.
Yeah.
I think that evolution itself is substantial evidence of the things that exist and don't. And as much as I want to believe that there are things that we have not discovered yet, I think that they're probably at the bottom of the ocean and in outer space.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel like we've, like, poked around
Yes.
the surface level Earth as much as we possibly can.
Yes. Totally.
So I don't think it exists.
Yeah.
Do I think that it's possible that the government would keep information at bay from like public consumption?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know why they would have done this, because
I don't know, maybe
theoretically
they're- 'cause
Bigfoot's just
they're-
an animal.
Right, but it's like humanoid. You know what I mean? If there's like a threatening, strong humanoid creature in the woods.
Yeah, I guess so. If it's potentially an apex predator, like
Yeah.
it's above us on the
Yeah,
food
right,
chain or
right.
something. Although they're eating spruce tips.
Yeah, they're eating spruce tips.
They're eating
It
spruce
seems-
tips.
It seems like they're vegetarians,
Yeah.
right? That guy who said he lived with them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a note in here, and I can't find it at the moment. Oh, no, I got it right here. There was a term, an ancient term from the Chehalis people, who described a solicium, S-O-L-L-I-C-U-M. I looked up this word, and it only routed me right back to this particular fact.
Yeah.
But evidently, a solicium is a term for a being that comes from both the natural and supernatural worlds.
Whoa, that's cool.
It's a wonderful word.
Yeah.
And it might therefore suggest that Bigfoot is not just another animal.
Right.
Maybe Bigfoot is tied into some sort of a metaphysical property.
I think, yes.
Yeah.
I think that there are theories about that.
It's like an elemental, right? It's an elemental of the woods.
Right. Or it's like a blip from another, what's it called, dimension. Kind of like
Right.
popping up here and there.
Yeah. And I think that's a fascinating notion.
Yeah, totally.
And especially like with whatever quote I read before about, maybe do we have our own version of the Yeti of
Mm-hmm.
the Himalayas? Maybe these are protectors of the environment in
Yeah.
different regions.
Yeah.
Right? The Sasquatch protects the heavily forested green Pacific Northwest of this continent.
Yeah, I love that idea.
The Yeti protects the cold, snowy Alps.
Yeah.
Maybe there's another Yeti type creature,
Right.
For like around like hot temperatures.
Yeah,
a
at the
jungle
beach.
type environment or something like that. Yeah, the beach.
Yeah.
The beach Yeti.
It's probably a crab.
Yeah, probably a big old crab.
Probably a crab.
But I'm thinking like I'm positing like the Yeti and the Bigfoot would seem like they are the same species.
Yeah, right.
It's just like
Right,
we
they're just kind of regional differences.
yeah. At one point we had our own tribunal. We had our own council.
Right.
We each represented these things, but now we've scattered to our
dispersed.
various points.
Yeah, we each got our marching orders and places that we're supposed to protect, so we went to those places.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
I like
man,
that idea.
and then man came along and took out Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And so we're down an
Right.
elemental. And guess what? The environment's not doing so well.
Yeah.
Maybe should have left Bigfoot alone, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that idea.
Yeah, and maybe that would be the reason why the government would want to get involved and be like,
Right.
don't tell people about this.
Yeah.
Because it represents more than just another
Yes.
creature.
Yeah, it opens a whole Pandora's box of things that need to be explained that
Yeah.
they don't want explained.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why? What do you think?
Into it. I don't know what I think. I mean, I think it's very unlikely. If I wish I had read more stuff recently. I guess I've thought that it's not impossible that there was maybe something that's maybe since extinct, perhaps. Like maybe there was something
Yeah.
that was like that, but it just kind of died out. But I remember, man, I wonder why. I guess just in my off time. I guess we don't do this show for no reason. I remember like really reading into Bigfoot a bunch at one point.
Right.
I guess I remember also thinking that the woods are so surprisingly dense. Like you think of just like, Bigfoot in the woods, like whatever, but there are areas where the woods are like intense and humongous.
That is true.
Where something could kind of evade being seen if it had the intelligence to want to evade it.
Yeah.
So I'm not like definite team there's Bigfoot or anything, but I don't think it's as silly as like, no, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah,
that's
I
not
don't
a
find
thing.
it laughable in a way
Yeah.
where you'd be like, dummy. Like,
Yeah.
no, there's not a Bigfoot. Because you're
It
right. Like,
doesn't
I
seem
just.
likely, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there are all kinds of things that play naturally that I don't understand that could maybe support the idea that something could kind of hide out in this way if it had the incentive to.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Because, like, yeah, I was saying that, like, we've explored everything there is to explore, but you're right. We've even talked about it on this show. Like, I did the Alaska Triangle.
Yeah.
The whole point is you can't navigate that region. It's too
Right.
dangerous.
Right, exactly.
I guess, yeah, you're right. There
So maybe if they
are
went
places
off
that we
trail,
can't. Yeah,
the
yeah.
Bigfoot went off trail and got spotted or something like that, but then goes back into the area that people can't really go to. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way. I believe that there are animals that we haven't seen before
Yeah, totally.
that
So
haven't been documented.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. So I think it's not.
It's just a particularly big one.
It's just so big is the thing.
It's just so big.
I know. And also the whole thing, there is this air of silliness because of the Patterson film and everything. Like
Right.
it just like discredited it so much because it's so clearly like a human man walking.
I know.
You know what I
but
mean?
I'll point to a goofy movie for this. The Faculty.
The Goofy movie?
Goofy movie. The movie The Faculty.
Yeah.
Elijah Wood in that movie is supposed to be the sort of film dork, Randy from Scream type character. And that movie's about aliens.
Right.
And he says, like, you know, maybe E.T. and all these movies about aliens, them being, you know, bumbling or even terrifying. Maybe they were made to get us all to doubt that aliens could even exist.
Yeah.
No, that's just something in a movie.
Right.
That's something done with special effects.
Right.
Maybe
no, go ahead.
they don't want us to know about aliens, so they came up with all these stories that make you think of them as less threatening.
Yeah.
Maybe Bigfoot is real, and the government got Roger Patterson
Right.
to put on a Bigfoot suit.
So that you think it's silly and ridiculous. It's like this thing that people do. I don't experience it in my life, but I'll see it on my reality shows that I watch and everything. And it drives me so crazy because I know exactly what they're doing. It's the same kind of thing. So this isn't a specific example, but let's say, like, I kicked you like a little under the table, and you're like, "Oh, you kicked me." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I kicked you. Yeah, that's right. I took a bat and I smashed your leg. Okay, I hurt your leg.
Right.
That's the thing." And making it so big and crazy so that other people who are observing are like, "Yeah, of course she didn't do that, but yeah, I might have actually kicked you."
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm just making it bigger so it sounds like your accusation is more insane.
Yeah, it's
so
like
maybe it's the
A
same
form of gaslighting.
yeah, so it could be the same kind of thing. They're like, oh yeah, you think there's a Bigfoot, you think there's a man
Right.
who's like walking around and he's all for okay.
There's also a thing called the Streisand effect, I think.
Yes.
Which is I don't know what the actual original I don't know why it's named after Barbra Streisand, but
me see.
there's like a photo of Beyonce that's particularly not flattering,
Right.
and people caught wind that she was trying to get it scrubbed from the internet,
Right.
and so it caused everybody to duplicate it endlessly, turn it into a meme and share it all over the place. The act of trying to deny something spreads it further than you ever could have anticipated in the first place.
Right.
So maybe even the government, if like, you know, like all this Patterson footage and stuff comes out and looks stupid by letting it go out there and not
like,
acknowledging it.
Yeah, let it look stupid. Fine.
Yeah,
'Cause
let it
then
look stupid.
He just did us a favor. Everybody's gonna
Yes.
think that Bigfoot is ridiculous.
We
now.
want it to seem dumb.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because Barbara Streisand was attempting to suppress photos of her residence in Malibu, which inadvertently drew public attention to it.
Why'd she?
I don't know why that drew attention to it.
Huh.
Let's
All right.
see.
This is a simpler time.
Oh, I guess because she sued.
She just didn't want somebody to be taking a picture of her house.
Yeah.
All right. That's fair, I guess.
Yeah,
Someone's taking a picture of my house right now. I'd be
It's
like,
fair. I guess
"You
the
stop."
fact that she sued drew more attention to the
Right.
idea of taking pictures of her house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got two final facts. One of them is kind of stupid, but I find it kind of sweet in a really, really strange way. Star Wars, Chewbacca.
Yes.
Chewbacca's basically Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Even his tribe, the Wookiees, when we see them in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, they live on Kashyyyk, and they live in houses that are built at the top of, giant redwoods. It
Yeah.
basically looks like the Pacific Northwest
Yeah.
where they live. That's, I guess, sort of like a jungle vibe, too.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, Star Wars takes place a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Right.
It's in the past. It happened in the past. Han Solo, Chewbacca's buddy, is played by Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford also played Indiana Jones, also written by George Lucas. So there's a lot of sort of connective tissue between those two characters. Han Solo, Indiana Jones, also very similar
Right.
characters. So somebody made a comic a few years ago that I really like, where Indiana Jones is exploring around in the jungles, and he comes across the crashed remnants of the Millennium Falcon
Oh.
from Star Wars.
That's cool.
And the idea is this. Han Solo and Chewbacca were on an adventure, go through a wormhole or whatever, they have to escape a thing, and they crash on a mysterious planet. And unfortunately, Han Solo perishes
Oh boy.
in the crash.
Oh boy.
All these years later, adventurer Indiana Jones comes across the wreckage and, being the archaeologist that he is, climbs around inside and finds the bones of Han Solo and is basically like, He seems like a hell of a guy. You know, whatever.
Look at this bone structure. Must have been a handsome devil.
This guy, handsome devil is exactly the right phrase. That was what I was going to say, without a doubt. And so he's, exploring, and he's like, huh, another weird adventure, and walks off in the distance. And the final panel up in the trees is Chewbacca crouching on a branch watching Indiana Jones walk away.
That's nice.
Chewbacca is an alien.
Yeah, yeah.
But he came to Earth, and now he's Bigfoot.
Now he's Bigfoot. I like that.
Isn't that really sweet?
Yeah.
In a weird way. It involves like a beloved character, Han Solo, dying.
Right. But it gets us to a nice place.
Yeah, and it's also kind of nice that Indiana Jones meets Han Solo.
Yeah.
As unlikely and stupid as it is, because it almost feels like a Batman versus Predator type, like weird mashup.
Yeah, totally.
Plays kind of nicely.
Yeah.
I think they're both very pulpy stories.
Yeah, totally. They really are very similar.
Yeah, they
so
can coexist.
Totally.
Yeah, I thought that was really sweet.
That is sweet.
But to end on a point of stark reality.
Ugh.
All that we've been laughing about Bigfoot, having a good time, but I want any of you to get any bad ideas.
Okay.
In Skamania County in Washington, it is illegal to kill a Bigfoot under penalty of a $1,000 fine and 5 years in jail.
Okay. All right.
So think about
Not
that.
I would.
Next time you decide to go Bigfoot hunting, you cretins, you rascals.
That's right.
What did the Bell Witch say? Did she say rascals?
Yeah, rascals.
No, you rascals.
Yeah.
But there you have it.
That's awesome.
That's Bigfoot. Thank you, At School.
Yes. Thank you, At School. What a good suggestion.
For turning our goofy show into
an intellectual exercise.
Useful topics. Yeah. Lessons.
Educational.
We're
We're basically professors.
I like that.
I like that a lot. Thank you, Amy.
Guide to the Unknown in the classroom.
Yeah.
So the kids can be like, oof. Remember in school when like they'd wheel on the big TV?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, we're watching a movie today.
Yeah.
If Guide to the Unknown was in the classroom, every time they push in the TV, the kids are like, again? How many of these are there?
I'm exhausted.
How many are there? They're long.
There's so many.
It's a lot.
I also want to mention, if you're a Squatch fan, that there's a company called Maiden Voyage Clothing Company that makes a bumper sticker that I had on my old car. I just saw that they just started reproducing them because they were out of stock for a long time. That says, I brake for cryptids with my Bigfoot, with a Bigfoot foot on a brake.
Nice.
So you can go check that out at maidenvoyageclothingcompany.com, maybe? I don't know, but you can search for their name.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Bigfoot
and they have
would
other
need,
Bigfoot-y stuff and cryptid-y stuff. They're really cool.
Bigfoot would need a custom car.
Oh, definitely. He's not going to fit comfortably.
No.
In a sedan? Come on.
I don't think so. Anyway, whoop, there it is.
Yeah.
That's this week's
That's it.
episode of Guide to the Unknown.
That's right. So if you liked the show, we would love it if you could leave us a review wherever you're listening to the show. So either on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Facebook reviews are really awesome too. People are starting to pay attention to that. So it's really, really helpful to us if you leave us a review somewhere. You can also donate to the show if you like it and you just kind of want to thank us for putting these out every week by going to patreon.com/GTTUpod.
Yeah, keep the party going. Mm-hmm. Follow at GTTU Pod on all social media to keep up to date with posts throughout the week from the wide world of horror shared by Kristen herself. Mm-hmm. And if you have any interest in talking to us as people,
that's right,
sharing stuff online, we recently made a rather large discovery about the Scream poster over on Twitter.
Oh, we did.
We did.
It was huge.
Yep.
So you're going to want to get over there.
Game changing. How did it happen? Point is, special things happen when you talk to us on the internet.
That's right. I'm at Chillin' Kristen on Instagram.
I'm at Haunted.
Nope.
What?
I was wondering if you'd be on it or not.
Oh, I'm on
William.
it. At
you were
Haunted
joking?
Sponge is no more.
Were you joking just now when you did that?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were serious.
You are all witness to the rise of at the Myth Traveler, a name bestowed unto me by a little brother, and confirmed into Guide to the Unknown Law by listeners and viewers on a live stream recently.
Absolutely.
Follow me. I'm at The Myth Traveler on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Yeah.
So thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We hope you had as good a time as we did, and we will see you next week when we get back into the spooky world of the unknown.
That's right.
But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the netherworld go we. Bye. Pull it out. Knock it back. About a double.
There you go, everybody.
Good, Karen. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
There you
That's
go,
great.
everybody. That was super fun.
Thanks, everybody. Tracy, Drew.
That
Thanks,
was
guys.
great. The Bell Witch
Boy.
and Bigfoot, that's a suitable 75.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I know. It's a heavy hitter.
Yeah. Any update on Little Brother, asks Diana. No.
No.
I've been checking my email. I've been searching to see any response. Nothing. I've
Yeah.
fallen out of Little Brother's good graces, but at least he gave me a sweet name.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't ask for that much more.
Yeah.
Good, guys. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, this is super nice. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. Everybody's just saying
Cool.
good show.
I know. You guys are so nice.
That's super nice. Feel free to, real quick, we'll probably hang out for just like a couple minutes. If there's anything you immediately want us to comment on, drop it in the comments real quick.
Tracy says that in the southern states they have the swamp ape, and it's not as tall as Bigfoot, but very smelly.
See, and then that's exactly along the lines of what we were talking
Yeah,
about.
regional.
Yeah, a different
The
protector
swamp ape is
of
protecting
different
the swamps.
climates, regions, whatever continents maybe.
Yeah. I
7
love that.
continents, seven
Yeah.
big feet.
Yeah, maybe.
Something
Or
like that.
more, I mean, more than that, because maybe there, oh wait, are you saying like there would be a Bigfoot in the U.S. and it's always Bigfoot, but it's parked in different climates, or within the U.S. there'd also be different Bigfoot that's like the forest Bigfoot, the swamp Bigfoot, and they're slightly different.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know where the Yeti is supposed to be.
I don't
You know, like, does it
No,
feel
a
like it's
cold
specific to
place.
a? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't
But
remember.
like, I feel like that would be because that's where we would start to see the pattern.
Yes.
And where do these
and
things reside?
Yetis look different than Bigfoot, so it'd be interesting to see if this, if
Yeah.
this theory is correct, how the swamp ape looks different than the traditional Pacific Northwest
Yeah,
Bigfoot.
exactly.
and
Because the
such.
other way of looking at it would be that like Bigfoot is the protector of the Pacific Northwest,
Right.
But like the Jersey Devil is the protector of the woods here in
Right.
New Jersey.
Right, that's true.
You know what I mean?
I don't know that the Jersey Devil has a reputation for protection of the Pine Barrens.
Well, it depends
I
on
guess
how
if
you
he's-
look at it.
I guess he could be scaring people away from the woods.
Scooby Doo law.
Yeah, that's true. Scooby-Doo law. That's a very good point.
I've been practicing Scooby Doo law.
Yeah. I have a degree in Scooby-Doo law.
Oh, Allie is an awesome researcher. I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I know, it was so nice of her.
Yeah.
Cool.
Basically college.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just as good.
We got our doctorate in monster facts.
Yeah.
The Yeti is in Asia.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Is there a Yeti in like The Mummy 3?
I don't know. I've seen The Mummy.
Something like that?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Recently rewatched The Mummy
I remember you
with
saying that. Yeah.
Brendan Fraser, and I was both delighted and disappointed to find out I liked it.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, have a good time while watching The Mummy, I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly. That's what you'll do.
Cool, everybody.
Yeah.
I think that I think this is gonna do it for us. But thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you all so much for chilling the whole way. This was a
Yeah.
long one.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was. Whoa.
Yeah.
Damn. Holy crap. I know we started late, but this was long. So
Not
thank
fooling
you.
around.
Yeah.
No need to fool around. Okay, everybody.
All right, guys.
Have a great
night.
rest of your night. And we will be talking to you again real soon, I
Yeah.
am sure.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But until
right.
that time, catch you later, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.